one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Sopren Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Sopren.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Thursday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Sopren. This is the Braden Sopren Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Today's going to be kind of like a Friday show. We're going to dive into a lot of stuff that's going to happen over the weekend because tomorrow we're basically the pregame show and the pregame show tomorrow for Padres baseball. Leading into Padres baseball, less than 24 hours away. 26 hours away. Because the game's going to start at noon. There's no pregame show. We are the pregame show tomorrow. So we're going to do a lot of Padres talk, as we always do every day. But tomorrow's going to be massive, like our best chance at doing a pregame show again. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. So today's kind of like a Friday show. So as Nate in the chat said, yeah, it's a foul out Thursday. You better believe it. Better watch your digits over there, Frank. You guys going to get hacked.
He draws the foul.
Already off to a great start. We got a lot to get to today, obviously. We got news with I hate that I have to talk about this again. I really do. You know what I hate about this? I hate that we're going to have to continue to talk about this for the next year. I really do. I'm so tired of talking about this. I have given the same take on this so many different times. I'm tired of it. But again, as we look at the ongoing situation with Major League Baseball, and we look at the Players Association and all the news of the Players Association, and obviously with the news of Tony Clark stepping down for all of the chaos that was circling around him with investigations, and now a new Players Association rep. And by the way, here it is. Starting to get some of the top echelon, the top 1% of the Players Association, starting to give out their takes on things. Sprinting. We are sprinting to a lockout. We are going as fast as a human can run to a lockout. We are Usain Bolt spreed to a lockout. And then on top of that, I think we jumped in a DeLorean, and it's just like one that can time travel into a lockout.
Imagine
Mach 4 into a lockout.
Just imagine Usain Bolt on those speed skates, just off and rolling. I think that might be faster than DeLorean, actually.
They could be faster than DeLorean. Yeah, just as fast as all the speed skaters. That's how faster than that. Faster than a speeding bullet. Faster than whatever it is. It's all the Superman things. Faster than a speeding bullet. Is that what he does? Is that what the thing says?
Something around there.
We're sprinting towards it.
I just know you don't pull on his cape.
Yeah, don't do that. Let's talk about why we're sprinting towards the lockout. Well, I mean, I think everybody knows the situation at hand and what the owners want and what they want to be able to put together, right? I mean, they obviously want... I can't say they want what's best for baseball. You never know. I mean, everybody's got their own, in part of these negotiations, their own personal things that they want to accomplish. Obviously, the owners have some things that they want to accomplish. The players have something that they want to accomplish. All of it really revolves around money, and the fans want to be able to watch a sport that is at the best that they possibly can. Be the best sport that they possibly can. That's what fans want. Even playing field to start. So we all knew, and we all know what's going on with the owners and wanting a salary cap, and they floated out the salary floor, and there's rumors about centralizing the TV markets and the TV network, TV deal, if you will. So as Tony Clark resigns from his post, The news that we got yesterday was Bruce Meyer, who we talked about a little bit yesterday. Bruce Meyer being named interim executive director of Major League Baseball Players Association. He has also been one of the lead negotiators in what got the deal done last time out. He's 64 years old. He's a veteran attorney, and he led the labor he's been the lead labor negotiator since 2018 and was named the 7th executive director of the Baseball Players Association on Wednesday. He replaces Tony Clark, who resigned amid the scandal, inappropriate relationship with a union employee, happens to be his sister-in-law. That's crazy in its own right. And a federal investigation into union finances. Meyer's appointment is interim, but he's expected to lead negotiations for the next collective bargaining agreement, likely starting in April. Matt Nussbaum has been promoted to interim deputy executive director, former general counsel, that was the spot that Bruce Meyer had before. The election process. Meyer was unanimously elected by the union's executive board. 38 major league player reps, 34 minor league player reps. Minor leaguers were incorporated into the Players Association in 2022. Meyer is known for staunch advocacy for players, blunt, competitive negotiating style. Some players and agents have criticized Meyer in the past, believing he favors top agents like Scott Boras. So some players and agents have complained about this guy being really in it to help the top 1%, which I don't necessarily know is the job of this guy. I feel like the job of this guy is to help all the players in the union. But I look at this as kind of a problem if he's only looking about the top 1% of the Players Association. His background, again, he's the senior director of collective bargaining and legal at MLBPA since 2018, promoted deputy director under Clark in 2022. He was previously with the NHL Players Association, and it was credited with improving negotiations for the last CBA. Service time manipulation, tanking complaints reduced, better outcomes for non-elite players through income disparity remains. Salary. Meyer will earn $1.6 million in 2026, less than half of Clark's scheduled salary. Immediate changes in this. The Players Association faces tough CBA negotiations. Owners may seek major economic changes, including a salary cap. Negotiations expected to be contentious. Meyer's leadership style, player first, emphasis on preparation, transparency, and communication, and seen as a stabilizing presence after the Clark scandal. So that's kind of the latest information we got on this particular deal. But as mentioned before, it's been what's been going on is some of the quotes that we've been seeing from the players and from the Players Association about what they want to go to. And I'm telling you right now, they are not on board of the salary cap, which I knew was going to be the case. I know they weren't going to be on board of the salary cap, but they're not. And some of the quotes that we have seen, and we're going to get to some from Chris Bassett. I mean, Chris Bassett, I understand where he's coming from. Again, the players have their own, obviously, agendas and everything like that. But at the same time, I look at the situation with these labor lawyers and with the Players Association, and I really think that they are missing what a lot of people in baseball really want to see. And the arguments, again, that they continue to bring up are ones that, to me, don't hold too much weight. And I almost have to ask the question of, like, do they even understand what the term parity means? We're going to get into this a little bit more with what Chris Bassett said, but this is what Bruce Meyer of the Players Association said on a potential lockout when talking with Jesse Rogers from ESPN. Quote, "A lockout is all but guaranteed at the end of the agreement. The league has pretty much said that. Their strategy in bargaining has always been to push as much pressure on the players as they can to try to create divisions and cracks among our membership. It's never worked. I don't think it ever will work." I mean, he's really drawing a line in the sand that they're not trying to move on anything. But the reality is, I don't like the way it's trying to be framed as, and I don't like the way that both both sides are really framing how this conversation is for the betterment of others, right? Like as much as the rules that they want to implement, I think will help baseball. I mean, the owners are using the leverage of like, oh, see, look, this is the best thing for the fans, right? But is that really what they're doing it for? Not really. I mean, there's probably a lot of things with what the owners are trying to do that's going to, have the value of their team go up and all this other stuff. But then I look back at the players. I mean, as much as the players always like to cry about, not being paid fairly, it's tough to see when you had the last collective bargaining agreement and most of the player reps agreed to the bargaining agreement, and then the top 1% group, the 8, super committee people of the Players Association all voted unanimously against it. That tells you everything you need to know about where the Players Association is right now. And when you look at like the players that are really the most outspoken about it, it's the ones at the top, and the ones at the top are continuing to use the guys at the bottom as leverage of like, oh, we're looking out for the future of baseball. But the more they talk, the more you realize they're really looking out for themselves. And so like, that's why I don't like diving into the labor negotiations too much. But what Chris Bassett said yesterday, not only are we sprinting towards a labor problem and a lockout for Major League Baseball, but it's just not really a grip of reality of what's going on. When we come back, I'll tell you what Chris Bassett said. And here's the problem with what Chris Bassett said is he is part of the Players Association Executive Subcommittee, which is those 8 players that get a lot of say in what goes on. It's not great when those are the players that are making a lot of decisions when they can afford to sit out because they're getting paid as much as they are. Chris Bassett really tries to make a comparison to the NFL, and he whiffs. And I'll tell you about it when we come back on the Braden Sopren Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. It's officially playoff season for basketball. Wrestling just crowned a new champion, and lacrosse is underway with dynasties chasing history. San Diego High School sports right now, deep, competitive, and raising some real questions about how we decide who's truly the best. Let's start with the hardwood, Frank, and boys basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. According to the latest San Diego Union Tribune rankings, Francis Parker, we talked about a lot last week, remains at number 1 at 19-9, pulling in 11 first-place votes. Right behind them are Victory Christian Academy, are 24-4, and Santa Fe Christian Schools, who are 25-3. And here's what I
voted for Parker on my vote.
There you go. Here's what makes this the most interesting is that all 8 open division teams have at least 19 wins, which almost never happens. Mission Bay sits at 20-8. Even with 2 forfeits on the record. San Marcos, Cathedral Catholic, and Olympian. This is a bracket with no easy outs. Meanwhile, D1 has 9 teams with losing records. D2 loaded with balance.
Yeah, open division, elite heavy. Lower divisions are depth heavy. The contrast says a lot about where the power sits right now in San Diego hoops. I mean, Santa Fe Christian got the number 1 seed in the open division playoffs, even though Francis Parker had beaten them twice and has been the number 1 team in the San Diego Union Tribune writers poll. So it'll be interesting to see. And again, Santa Fe Christian's coached by Johnny D. Johnny D is the former Rancho Buena Vista star in high school that went on, walked on at USD, became the best player at the University of San Diego as a walk-on. He has taken over Santa Fe Christian this year in his first year. They're already one of the best teams in the county and somebody to watch for. But they've had the Francis Parker problem the entire season. Victory Christian Academy down in Chula Vista, relatively new school. They are playing really good basketball as well. Should be fun in the open division. As for girls basketball, seeding controversy. On the girls' side, Francis Parker is now the new number 1 in the open division at 18-7. Behind them, Mater Dei Catholic, Cathedral Catholic, Mission Hills. But here's where the debate starts on this side. La Jolla Country Day is seeded 5th. Despite splitting with both Parker and Mission Hills and beating Mater Dei Catholic. So how does that make sense? because the brackets are determined strictly by Max Prep's computer rankings, no human seating committee, no debate room, no context discussion, and now Mission Hills and La Jolla Country Day meet for a third time in the quarterfinals. Is that fair, or is that the cost of going fully digital? To me, as I always argue for the computer rankings for high school football, you have to have head-to-head matchup clauses. You have to be able to tweak it, go off of the computer rankings to rank everybody, and then make a couple of tweaks here and there. I don't know why you can't do both things.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. I mean, you can't go fully one, you can't go fully the other, because you have room for issues like this. And I think we've strayed too far in the automated direction on this one.
Let's talk about wrestling. Granite Hills finally wins the Division I championship, Frank.
Yep, absolutely. For 2 straight years, Granite Hills finished runner-up in Division I wrestling, but not this year. The Eagles dominated the section meet, winning 9 individual titles, scoring 356.5 points to capture their first division championship. Emilio Escobar, Cash McClurg, also, and the so-called closer at the heavyweights. This was not a close win. It was a statement, and Granite Hills now heads to Masters with serious momentum towards the state crown.
Yeah, of course, Poway always at the top of the leaderboard in the open division, but wrestling for Granite Hills, they finally break through. They get their first Division I wrestling championship. Big congratulations to them. Haven't started baseball yet, but some of the spring sports are starting to go. Beach volleyball starts this week with a couple of scrimmages, and lacrosse is set to start. As basketball winds down, it's time for lacrosse, baseball, beach volleyball, and softball here in America's finest city. On the boys' side, defending open champion Torrey Pines High School is chasing its 8th straight open division title. 8! They're led by seniors Foster Huang and Ross Jacobson, but La Costa Canyon is right behind them looking to end that run. And on the girls' side, Coronado High School returns much of a team that went 19-0 and finished ranked nationally. Cathedral Catholic and La Costa Canyon are in the mix. San Diego Lacrosse just isn't competitive, but it's nationally relevant, especially when you look at a team trying to win 8 straight open division titles in Torrey Pines.
Yeah, and again, it's mostly a Canadian northeastern sport, so it's starting to make its way out here. Colorado, it's also very, very big as well. It's starting to make its way out here. Like, we did not have lacrosse at Olympian when I was going there, so it's interesting to see lacrosse starting to really take a foothold out here. It's also very nice to see. It's a very fun sport if you haven't seen it. The San Diego Seals are a very different game from outdoor lacrosse, so don't expect it to be too similar, but it's a lot of fun to see lacrosse starting to get some recognition out here. And again, it's just insane record there for Torrey Pines.
We already talked about track and field starting up. We'll get you ready for baseball, softball, beach volleyball, and all the other spring sports on our next update next week. To the Braden Sopren Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Let's talk about this a little bit more. I really don't want to, but we keep getting news on it, and we still got to wait 25 hours for Padres baseball to play games. So let's talk about what Chris Bassett said yesterday. Now, Chris Bassett just signed with the Baltimore Orioles, right?
I believe that's where he went.
Yes. He is the MLB Players Association. He's part of the MLB Players Association executive subcommittee, and he gave his thoughts on a salary cap, which my biggest takeaway from all of these arguments from players is the worst thing that they think can potentially happen is not even that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, and I can usually poke holes in most of the arguments. All right, here's what Chris Bassett said. Again, I understand why the players are saying it, because they think they're just going to all of a sudden not make any money. Or, it's eliminating the potential for me to, make hundreds of millions of dollars per season, because now all of a sudden the teams can't spend as much as they have been and all this. No, that's not the case. The only reason why the players at the top don't want a salary cap is they want to be able to pick wherever they want to go, and they want to be on loaded teams, and they want to get paid like a star, surrounded by stars that are also getting paid like stars. Everybody wants to be, every player's dream is to be on a team like the Dodgers, playing in a place that has the weather like California, getting paid an enormous amount of money, probably more than what you are worth as a player, and it doesn't hurt your bottom line of the team because everybody on the team is making tons of money. Of course, every player talks about how great it is for the Dodgers to do what they're doing. They all are jealous. They're on the job. They all want to be in that situation. Maybe not necessarily wear a Dodgers uniform, but they want everybody. They want all their teams to be like that. Just like any other labor force, right? We should be making all the money. We're the ones doing everything, even though Major League Baseball and the owners and stuff, I mean, they are the ones that hold all the risk, but nobody ever wants to have that conversation. But anyway, here's what Chris Bassett said yesterday. The salary cap doesn't fix anything. If you look at every major sport with a salary cap, we have the best parity. Are you kidding me, dude? What are you talking about? The salary cap is not the issue. Having suppressed salaries across the league so owners make more money is not the answer. What are we talking about, Chris? What are we talking about? What do you mean suppressed salaries? Who is getting a suppressed salary right now in the NFL? Who? What top player is getting not what they're worth in the National Football League right now in a salary cap league?
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's making $60 million a year. He is suppressed. If I would tell you in 25 years the Dodgers would be going to 10 World Series and winning 7 of them, is that an issue? Because that's the Patriots. The Chiefs have been to what, 6 or 7? The Philadelphia Eagles have been to 4 or 5. Have the Eagles been to 4 or 5 Super Bowls? I couldn't tell you. The parity in our sport is better than any other sport. No, Chris. Let me tell you something. Parity is not defined about who wins the championship. Parity is defined on who can have a chance to win a championship. That's the difference. In the NFL, everybody's got a chance to win a Super Bowl every single year. They all play by the same rules. In Major League Baseball, it's not the case. You must have, as we've seen over the last 20 years, a top 10, if not, a top 15, if not top 10 payroll in Major League Baseball to compete for a World Series. The Patriots, the Chiefs. I mean, all the examples that they used, those are organizations that were able to draft their best player, build around said player, and keep said player. You know who can't do that? The Pittsburgh Pirates. It's like with Paul Skeens. Like right now, if you look at just the teams in Pittsburgh, okay? You got the Penguins, you got the Steelers, and you got the Pirates. When the Steelers were doing really well, now right now they're not doing as well, but they drafted Ben Roethlisberger. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They got to keep Ben Roethlisberger, and they got to build around Ben Roethlisberger. There was no fear of him leaving for a gigantic salary that anybody can just throw out there that's going to outdo a local market. That's a small media market. Pittsburgh's not a great media market. It's very small. Same thing with the Penguins. Who's the Penguins' best player, Frank? Historically, for the last handful of years.
Sidney
Crosby. They'll never let him go. Nor should they. Because they have the ability to keep these players. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They drafted Patrick Mahomes. They were able to work around a lot of these deals to make a playoff run. They made the playoff run. And then guess what they got to do? They got to keep said player. Look at the Royals. The Royals won. Everybody likes to use the Royals right now, don't they, Frank? Everybody likes to talk. Well, the Royals won a World Series. So one team in 20 years to win a World Series that is from a small market, it seems like. By the way, that year they were spending an enormous amount of payroll. What happened to the Royals team after they won?
They fell apart. They
got dismantled because they couldn't keep everybody and they had to go to a rebuild. What happened to Kansas City when they won their first Super Bowl? Did everybody leave?
No,
they got to keep everybody. They signed contracts. And you know what Chris Bassett fails to mention about the Patriots and the Chiefs in terms of winning Super Bowls? And the dynasty that they had? Did he mention, by the way, Frank, what the 2 best players on those teams did? Do you know what those 2 best players did?
What did they do, Braden?
They took a pay cut. So other players could make money so they could be good. You know what Major League Baseball players don't do? You know what they don't do, Frank?
They don't take pay cuts.
They don't take pay cuts. They take theirs. No, that's mine. I earned that. That's mine. It's guaranteed. It's mine. They don't take pay cuts. Stop trying to compare the NFL to baseball and say it's like, oh, we have more parity than these guys. Are you kidding me? That's not the difference. It's not about who wins championships. It's about who has the access to win a championship. And right now in baseball, there's only a handful of teams that have the access to win a championship, Chris. Quote, we will make changes to try to help the so-called bottom teams out, but a salary cap and suppressing salaries and taking from players to try to help the so-called bottom teams spend more, that's not the answer, because if you're trying to make a competitive league across the board, we have proof that every single league has less parity than ours. Where's the proof, Chris? Do any of these players know what parity actually is? Do they? I mean, I don't think they do. They just look at like, oh, look at all the championships that we have different. They are using the benefit of baseball being weird in the postseason as like, see, look, it works. We have parity. It's not because of the non-salary cap. It's because baseball is weird. So how can you sit there and say a salary cap is going to fix this when every single salary cap sport has less parity than ours? It makes no sense. Again, these guys, I'm telling you, a lot of these guys that are for this and the arguments they make are in their own world. Their own world. The root of the answer is not the salary cap, Chris Bassett says. And the root of why owners want a salary cap is not for competitive balance. You know, the root of why the owners want a salary cap, I can believe that it's not strictly for competitive balance. I can believe that. I can, for sure. I could totally believe that. But to sit here and say that they have more parity than the other leagues is nonsensical. And again, the parity is about everybody has the same resources in a competitive league, and you win because you're good, not because you have more money. And that's the problem. It's not the situation like the NFL. In the NFL, there's teams that go on dynasties. And you want to know why? You want to know why they go on dynasties? Because they're well run. It's not because they have more money and anybody can do it. In Major League Baseball, the teams that spend the most have more opportunities to win than teams that don't. And they're good because they spend money, not because they're good at what they do. Now, I will say the Dodgers are good at what they do, but they should be winning World Series because they do things better than everybody else, not because they can outspend everybody. And that is the argument. It's not about who wins the championships. It's about at the beginning of the season, are we all playing by the same rules? That's it. It's simple. Now, for the whole suppressing the salary argument, you ready for this, Frank? I'm going to give Brian Householder on social media a little bit of a shout out here. If you just start doing the math, Frank, on suppressing the salaries, okay? So right now, if you tally up what all teams are paying players, they are paying $5.4 billion on salaries. Okay? All right. That's right now. That's with no salary cap. They're paying $5.4 billion in salaries. Now, assuming everybody has to comply by a $160 million floor and a $240 million cap. You ready for this? Do you know what the total would be in terms of players making money? You know what teams would, you know what all the teams would be spending, that number? We told you it was 5.4 right now. You know what it would be if you made every team that's over come back down and make every team that's under go up to 160? The players would be making $5.7 billion. They would actually get a $300 million raise. Almost $300 million more in payout, even including the current hyperinflated Dodgers total coming down by $150 million of their overspending. So who's really suppressing whose salary right now? Is it the owners? Or is it this executive subcommittee, the top 5% of players who are who's suppressing whose salary right now? I think it brings up an interesting point. I mean, they just throw out that it would suppress the salaries. But if there's a salary floor and teams have to spend a minimum, You are spending actually more money on players than you are currently. But the problem is not spending the money. That's not the problem. The problem is the top 5% of players want to get paid an enormous amount of money, more than everybody else, and they want to be on a team that's surrounded with guys like them. That's the argument. That's not great for the sport. Look, you could be a player defender, and I defend the players on a lot of different things. But when it comes to the overall sport of baseball and what makes the league the best, before people just get disinterested and stop watching it, the thing with the players is, with this conversation about the salaries, the players at the top don't want to give up what they have right now, and that is being able to go wherever they want, be surrounded by talent, and their paycheck not affecting how good the team is. That's where it's at. And they use some of these, phrases as like buzzwords to try to get people all excited. You either want the league to have success or you just want your favorite players to make loads of money. I mean, you choose, but that's your prerogative. I mean, you could be like that. I don't care. If you're somebody that just wants your favorite player to make as much money as humanly possible and don't care about the league, go ahead. I mean, sure. But the reality is, you either have a league where the players make as much money as possible, or you have a league that's competitive and entertaining. There's no in between. There really isn't. They asked Manny Machado about the salary cap. Of course he doesn't want a salary cap. He's making almost $40 million a year on his salary. The guys that are making $20 to $30, $40 million a year don't like the salary cap. But the reality is, if you look the way that they voted on things, the fact that most of the Players Association vote differently than the top super committee or whatever the heck they call it is all you need to know about where the Players Association is at. And I think that's why the owners right now have some leverage in these negotiations. As I've mentioned this so many times before, I am for whatever makes the league competitive and fun and entertaining. And what's going to make the league fun and entertaining is by having a salary cap. Yeah, that might benefit the owners this time around. But you either want a league where your favorite players get paid the most, or you want a league that's competitive. It's your choice. Would you rather have your favorite player get paid more money than anybody, or a league that's competitive? Because as much as the NFL does a lot of things right with competitiveness, their contracts aren't very good. They're not. They get the raw end of the deal when it comes to professional athletes. The NFL players do. But I tell you what, they got the best, they got the most entertaining league, don't they? Destroy it in ratings. Aside from the fact that their sport's fun and it's violent and Americans love violence. But the reality of the situation is, when it comes to sports leagues, Frank, it's either the players make a ton of money or there's a competitive balance and they might not be able to make as much as, unlimited that they would like to make. But you know what? That's what makes leagues fun and entertaining. And if you decide to go one way with the players and all of a sudden people just get disinterested, guess who's going to all stop? Guess who everybody's going to start losing money? Everybody's going to start losing money. But that's the way these leagues are shaped, right? I mean, the NFL's got a lot of good things when it comes to entertainment and parody, but they got the raw end of the deal. I mean, they sacrifice their bodies. Their careers are like, on average, 3 or 4 years. None of the money's guaranteed. They get a tough deal. But you know what? Their league's incredibly entertaining, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And if to anyone who's might think that there's a concern of, oh, well, in that case, Major League, why would you think that Major League Baseball players' contracts would be fully guaranteed under a salary cap? It's because they already are. They already are fully guaranteed. And once you give something to someone, you can't take it back. In that particular case, the Players Association never would and never should go for it in that case. But you're looking at the overall health of your league. The Super Bowl had 160 million people watch that game. 160 million people watched a game between Seattle and New England. Imagine that being game one of the World Series between Miami and Kansas City. That could happen under this. It very well could.
Again, I try to make, because here's the thing. People just get so fixated on rooting for a side. And like, well, I hate billionaires, so I have to be with the players that are millionaires, and I have to, do all this other stuff. And then people like start throwing names of like, oh, you're just, kissing the ass of this one side. Take the emotion out of it for a second. It makes no sense what the players are arguing. It really, for the betterment of the league, I mean, if you take out who's making what kind of money, for the betterment of the league, it doesn't make any sense, Frank. It's nonsensical.
No, it doesn't.
The arguments that the players are making, it's nonsensical. And here's the other thing. It's not like with this, like, do we think that these players are all of a sudden going to go from making 30 to 40, 50, $60 million a year that Juan Soto's making to making a couple $100,000?
No,
that's not even going to become close. The difference it's going to be is you're not going to have all of those players on one team. That's the difference. That's literally it. These guys are all going to make the same kind of money. There's going to be 30 players that are going to be making close to $60 million. The difference is they're not all on one team. They're going to be spread out amongst the league because those teams are going to have to spend money. And an easy way to do it is bringing in a star that excites everybody. But you can't do that if you're a lower level team and still be competitive because you spent all your money already. But with salary caps and salary floors, all of a sudden, you spread the talent out. I don't know what's so hard for people to grasp about that. I really don't. But this conversation is going to continue for the next year, probably. And like I said, if you put in the salary floor and the salary cap, and it's at the proposed mark of 160 to 240, and everybody complies with that, the players are actually making more money in that system than they're currently making right now. So what exactly is their argument?
No, we got to get to break.
Let's get to break. It's too far.
I'm not going to entertain.
Luis Campusano turning some heads at spring training. A lot of great things said of Luis Campusano by his teammates on how camp's going. We'll check in on how Luis Campusano's doing with camp when we come back. San Diego Gulls just wrapped up a playoff-style home-and-home with Bakersfield, and what we learned in this, they can win tight games, but they're still learning how to close them against elite firepower. Split with the Bakersfield Condors, 4-game winning streak snapped, and now the Gulls sit right in the thick of things in the Pacific Division playoff race.
Yeah, absolutely. Game one, a statement win against the Condors, a 3-1 win back on February 13th at Dignity Health Arena. San Diego extending its winning streak to 4 games with a mature, structured road win. A very, very good sign from a young team like this.
Yeah, Tomasz Sukanchik was outstanding, 31 saves, season high, back-to-back wins for Sukanchik since returning from injury. Head coach Matt McIlvaine called it a big-time game for him. Offensively, Matthew Phillips scored his 10th of the season on the power play. He now co-leads the team with 32 points. Tim Washi scored his 14th and continues to lead the team in points per game among qualified skaters. Nathan Gaucher added an empty netter, now 5 points in the last 4 games. And Sasha Pastajov recorded his 100th career AHL point. But the key, the third period, McIlvaine said it best, they're learning how to protect leads, not sitting back, not getting reckless. That blend of maturity and aggression, that's playoff hockey. Now, on game 2, though, a little bit different. They were competitive, but it was costly. Ended up losing 5-4 at Pechanga Arena, and the streak ends at 4.
Yeah, absolutely. The interesting part here is that McIlvaine said that they might have actually played better stylistically than they did in the night before the game they won, but against a high-octane Bakersfield team, mistakes get punished, and they got punished quite often as they fell behind 3 separate times, were able to come back 3 separate times, but unfortunately still end up coming with the loss.
Justin Bailey scored his 16th goal. He leads the team in goals now. Judd Caulfield had 2 goals, his 3rd multi-game of the year. Stian Solberg scored his 6th leading goals defenseman. And Sasha Pastajov now leads the team outright with 33 points. Nathan Gaucher had 2 assists and 7 points in 5 games. But Caulfield said post-game they gave Bakersfield too many looks, and against a team like that, you can't trade chances.
No, you absolutely cannot, especially with how tight the division is, this Pacific Division. They're 22, 15, 6, and 3, standing at 53 points, which has them back in 6th in the Pacific Division, but they are only 4 points behind Coachella Valley, so they are within striking distance of one of those top 3 spots, which in the update last week we were mentioning was very, very crucial, especially this series against Bakersfield, to be able to get in and really stay in that race.
They're firmly in a playoff position as of right now, but the division is brutal. Colorado, Ontario, Bakersfield, these are not forgiving teams. It's a little bit different than the NHL Pacific Division that seems wide open. Points are at a premium, and as Caulfield said, the goals aren't satisfied with 6th place. But what we're seeing from this team, 3 clear trends. Depth scoring is real. Bailey, Washi, Pastajov, Phillips, Caulfield, Gaucher, production across multiple lines. Goaltending, stability. Callie Klang has been excellent overall this season. And now Tomasz Sukanchik looks like he's finding his game again, as well as competitive maturity from the team. Down 3 times Saturday, kept responding.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll still occasionally give up the back-breaking chance. And the Pacific Division, that's the division between that's the difference right now between hosting a playoff series or just fighting to get in. And the next couple games are going to be very, very big, as most of the rest of the season is going to be for the San Diego Gulls as it sits right now.
Yeah, February 18th, they got San Jose, they got the Barracuda, and then over the weekend they got 2 games in Rockford to take on the Ice Hogs on the 21st of February and the 22nd. San Jose is directly ahead of them in the standings. That game on Wednesday against San Jose, that's a 4-point swing game. And now so far the Gulls have done a very good job with that, but they need to do it again against San Jose. The Pacific Division is gnarly. Are the Gulls a dangerous playoff team or still a year away from being a true division contender? 10:42 on a Thursday. It's going to be like a Friday show for us, a foul out Friday, if you will. Foul out Thursday. Start handing out fouls to some people in the chat today. Come on. The players crying poverty, it kills me sometimes.
And this wasn't the chat that I was reacting to. This actually came up after that. So whoever in the chat said a year without baseball wouldn't kill me because then I could just drive up the freeway and see Lake Elsinore play.
You added a drop for this specifically.
Yeah.
Close.
If
Yeah.
baseball stops playing, if there is a lockout in baseball, that means all of baseball. That means the minor leagues. That's all.
It's everybody.
That all stops.
Now, if you think, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
May not have known,
Maybe he's driving to Elsinore to watch the Savannah Bananas play.
That could be. You know what?
Because the Bananas are on. They're not touched by this.
That's fair.
Not touched by this. Come on. Could be the Bananas. They just hired a local product to be the host for the fire, whatever it's called. I forget.
Okay. Smash, worldwide appeal, soccer is number 1.
Unless he's talking about just American sports.
No, he says worldwide appeal. Soccer is number 1.
He only lists American sports. I mean, maybe worldwide appeal for American leagues.
He didn't specify that.
I'm giving a lot of people the benefit of the doubt right now, Frank.
On a day where the NFL drew 160 million people to watch one game, the Super Bowl, 750 million people watched Liverpool take on Man City.
He said American sports. Out of all the American leagues, the one that's the most worldwide appeal is NFL, is what he's saying.
World Baseball Classic?
I don't think it does nearly the numbers of the
NBA?
NFL.
No, I understand that. But wouldn't you think that, I mean, we're getting players from all over the world to play in Major League Baseball. We're getting players all over the world to play in NBA. Not really getting players all over the world to play in the NFL. We're starting to see some more as far as soccer players coming over. But I think baseball is number one in that.
It's not, because the NFL is everywhere and they sell out everywhere. And everybody loves the NFL because it's one of the only violent sports left, and humans love violence. Nobody likes to say that out loud, but humans love violence. That's why they love football. True. They love violence. I mean, what did the Romans used to do for entertainment? Watch people kill each other. I mean, that's what it is. So, I just, the whole thing with the players and the money thing is my last thing that's going to be on this, because again, and I get it. They're fighting to get as much money as humanly possible. That's their right. I just think their arguments are nonsensical. You get paid what you are worth, but what you are worth to a lot of teams would be the number one player on certain teams. The fact of the matter is, with the salary cap, it just eliminates all of those players being stockpiled on one team. Which, by the way, Frank, don't they have rules for that for players? So you can't stockpile players?
Yeah. They
have rules for that. It's for what exactly? Competitive balance.
That's it.
We just talked about one of them for Walker Buehler. He is an Article 20 free agent. Why do they have those? Well, if you get to a certain threshold of service time and you're good enough to play in Major League Baseball, you can't be stockpiled on a team and be stuck in the minor leagues. It's the same concept. Yeah. Does it benefit the owners? Yeah, right now it does. But at the same time, these players are not going to not get paid. The difference is Kyle Tucker and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, all these guys are not going to all be on the same team anymore. Those type of players, when they come up, are going to be elsewhere, and everybody's going to have their number one player, and then they're going to have their number two. I mean, the MLS does it. I wouldn't mind designated players. That's what they should put in. Frank, please explain to us what a designated player is for those that don't know in the MLS. How many spots do you get as a designated player for your team?
As far as the MLS is concerned, you get other leagues throughout the world do it differently. Some leagues mandate that you have X amount of your roster made up of players from your country. So just take Italy, for example. Say they have the rule that you need to have 70% of the players on your roster be Italian nationals. You are allowed to have X numbers, so 2 in the MLS's case, that are like an overextension of the budget to try to bring in a little bit more international interest. So you're allowed to break the bank on 2 guys, but the rest of your roster more or less has to fit inside a salary cap.
Okay. But like with the MLS, do you have 2 designated players that can make as much money as possible?
Yes.
That don't count towards the salary cap.
Correct.
You could literally implement that in this deal. I don't care. I don't care if Manny Machado makes $40 million or $60 million or $70 million. By the way, none of that really affects his day-to-day life. I mean, your life at $50 million a year does not change at $70 million a year. It doesn't change. But if the players are so worried about that, which I don't think they really are, they should have designated players that don't count towards the cap. But once you fill those roles, they're on your team. Like, what's the problem with San Diego FC right now?
One of their international non-cap spots is taken up by a player that's not playing, and has been told that he is not playing.
Correct. That's the whole point of this conversation, about building the roster and having the same rules. Like, Smash has been complaining about, like, he's doing the capitalist thing, all that stuff. He's like, I hate that Scuba will be a Dodger. Tigers allegedly offered him 5 years, $250, and for Boris, that wasn't good enough. You want to know why that's not good enough? Because they could get into bidding wars for unlimited amounts of money, and they could go elsewhere in a bidding war. Because guess what? Because they don't have what, Frank?
And salary cap.
Salary cap. You're upset the Tigers are offering good money, but the problem is they can't get any of these guys to stay because they could get all these teams that are really good that are loaded with talent to spend loads amount of money, just unlimited amounts of money. Kyle Tucker, when coming down to two offers that are similar, in fact, the Mets offering more, he still picked LA because they have better players. That's the point of the conversation, not suppressing the salaries. All right, I'm done with this. Am I done with this? No, because there's going to be new information. And there's going to be some other dumb quote out there that we're going to have to talk about this. But the reality is, for the betterment of baseball, they need a cap and a floor. You want to throw in designated players and let guys like, Manny and Fernando make as much money as possible? I don't care. Go ahead. Fine. They can make some appeasements in there. You know what? Take a little bit of every league with the caps. Signing bonuses, have them not count or have only like 50% of it count. I mean, there's so many ways around this where you can implement a cap and a floor and players still get paid a ton of money. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. All right. Let's get to the Luis Campusano situation. We're going to briefly talk about this, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about it on the 11 o'clock hour. We're going to also hear from Herman Marquez. Herman Marquez met with the media today for the first time. We heard from Griffin Canning yesterday. The competition in Major League Baseball, for the San Diego Padres is top-notch. Absolutely top-notch. We'll also hear from Craig Stammen. The team was messing around with ABS yesterday, Frank. That was kind of fun.
Yes,
saw that from Sammy Lev's videos.
Yes.
They asked Craig Stammen about that today. Nick Castellanos, quick helmet tap, won the appeal. You said in the Mets camp they tried to do it against Juan Soto.
Yeah, Jonah Tong tried to do it against Juan Soto, forgetting that Juan Soto walks more than anyone else in baseball every single year. And wouldn't you know it, Jonah Tong wasn't right.
I would never do this against Juan Soto.
Or as a pitcher, I would never do that.
Well, I think they said statistically, like the pitchers have been just awful in the minor leagues because they're emotional with the pitch. I made a great pitch there. Catchers are sitting there like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, no, I would never, as a pitcher, I would never, because that just means I'm getting squeezed the rest of the game if I get it right.
So Craig Stammen talks about that. They also talked about Ethan Salas a little bit and expectations for Salas during spring training, which kind of leads to our catching conversation again with Campusano. We're going to run out of time here, so we're going to really continue it in the next segment. But when I look at Luis Campusano, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we have heard over the years about Luis Campusano has been about, on the rumor mill about, not really taking the catching rule that seriously when it comes to scouting reports, and he's there to hit and all this other stuff. But it seems like he has put together and he is like maturing into, somebody that obviously understands the situations around him right now. But he's 27 years old, and I think he's really embracing the approach of being a catcher in Major League Baseball and wanting to make this team and wanting to be a part of this team. To the point where like his teammates are talking about the differences that he has made just in camp this year and like how he is as a player and how he's been as a professional. And it really leads to the question that we're going to talk about in the next segment and dive into in the next hour about Luis Campusano. And is he finally ready to prove himself as a starting caliber catcher? Now, the Padres don't need him to be a starting catcher because they got Freddie Fermin, but they could really use him to be a guy that can play and give days off to Freddie Fermin. Because again, even with Freddie Fermin, the tail end of the season last year was the first time he was starting every single day. He was always with Salvador Perez over there in Kansas City. He's never been an everyday starter. And that's a big toll when it comes to catchers. And you're going to need starts out of a guy like Luis Campusano. You kept him part of the organization. He was one of your top prospects for a long time. And has he finally embraced this role of being part of this team? And being part and doing what it takes to be a professional catcher at a high level. And it sounds like from a lot of praise from Craig Stammen, who was a teammate and now manager, obviously, of Luis Campusano, of Joe Musgrove, who is one of the pitching leaders on this team. Ruben Niebla, pitching coach, as well as Kevin Plawecki, who is the catching instructor. They're saying a lot of great things about Campusano. And sometimes it takes time for young people to really embrace their craft and really understand the level of preparation to be a professional. Has Luis Campusano unlocked that? And is it finally time for him to embrace this role, but also is he finally ready to prove himself as a starting caliber catcher? Some details about that when we continue in the 11 o'clock hour. We're going to hear from Craig Stammen. We're going to hear from Herman Marquez. Walker Buehler threw a bullpen yesterday. Plus, the six-man rotation conversation continues. Lots of Padres talk in the 11 o'clock hour. All right. We got important news. Major League Baseball. Great news.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic yet or not.
You didn't see the news, Frank? That came out an hour ago?
No.
The breaking news of Major League Baseball. It's a pinned tweet now. This is huge.
What am I missing? What am I missing?
I can't believe you missed this.
Okay, it's sarcastic now, definitely.
God, Major League Baseball. They did, you know what? They did something right. I think they finally did something right.
What, did they pin the tweet of the Padres using the gong yesterday?
No, they didn't do that.
Oh, they didn't pin it.
You ready for the announcement from Major League Baseball?
Let me guess it first. Did they show Ohtani again? Did Ohtani
This is actually a
wake
post
up?
that has nothing to do with Shohei Ohtani, at least not yet.
Well, I'm stumped. I'm stumped at that point.
Major League Baseball announced today an hour ago, Mountain Dew Baja Blast is now the official soft drink of Major League Baseball.
There is a God in this world.
Frank.
Let's go.
I've never seen Frank so excited. The only thing that'd make it better if it was the official sponsor of the New York Mets, but I guess in
Let's
some way it does.
go.
Mountain Dew will roll out a season-long promotion tied to the biggest home runs in the game. The Get a Baja for a Blast program will turn long-distance home runs into product rewards, with more details coming soon.
Okay.
They better do a partnership with Steal a Base, Steal a Taco with Taco Bell.
As part of this, does the Petco Park press box now have a Mountain Dew Baja Blast fountain in it?
Probably not.
That would be.
I think every team's got their own.
That would be too good,
sponsorships. The Baja Blast, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. You know what? Maybe they'll, on every Padre home run, they'll come out through the aisles and just start handing out Baja Blast.
That would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
You'd get me to sit in a seat then.
Frank's going to see that sitting in the press box. Why is everybody getting Mountain Dew? Paying customers only.
Give it here.
Hey, you want this ball that came in the press box? Give me the Mountain Dew.
I'm paying with my life and time right now. Thank you very much. Give me.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast, official soft drink of Major League Baseball.
That was not sarcasm, and I'm very happy about the non-sarcasm.
You're welcome. Let's talk about Luis Campusano. We briefly discussed about, in the last hour, but a lot of talk about Luis coming into this season for a couple of reasons. One, he's out of options. Two, they need a backup catcher. And three, it's like he has been given a lot of opportunities for a guy that was a top prospect. He's one of the only guys that has stuck around here in San Diego. Last year, in his time up with the major leagues, didn't even get a single hit, but he's been raking in AAA. The Padres could really use Luis Campusano to finally come through to add to this season. I mean, you want to talk about the guys that they brought in that are question marks, that have high ceilings? Luis Campusano is one of those players. Drafted in the second round 9 years ago, made his debut in 2020, career path marked by early promise in the home run and debut, injuries, obviously, it had wrist injury, thumb, ankle oblique, demotions, platoons, limited playing time, confidence struggles, and difficulty commanding pitchers. The Padres organization has had a love-hate relationship with him over the years. Personality shift. Luis Campusano is quieter, introverted, and not naturally talkative. This is all laid out in an article by Kevin Acee, which is a major challenge for a lot of catchers.
I relate.
Recent years show increased engagement, communication, and leadership effort. Joe Musgrove notes that Campusano's better approach to teammates, preparation, and involvement. He said a lot of good things about Luis in this article. And when you look at this conversation in particular, there was a lot of different quotes about Luis Campusano and from players and coaches about how he is treating this year compared to previous years. Manager Craig Stammen, who is not only his manager, but also a teammate of Luis Campusano, values Campusano's personality and intentionally builds confidence, praises early skills like being a great target for pitchers. Ruben Niebla, who's the pitching coach, Kevin Plawecki, who is the catching instructor. They have both emphasized the importance of mental growth and consistency for performance for Luis. And the Padres are intentionally fostering a supportive environment to maximize his potential. I think the Padres are giving this guy every opportunity to finally make this team and really develop it into his own. This is the biggest opportunity I think that the Padres have ever given a guy like Luis Campusano. This is what his highlights have been in Major League Baseball and some of his struggles. In 2020, he had that hot debut, but then got a wrist injury immediately after, got one postseason at bat. 2021 to 2022, struggled at the plate and behind it. Injuries and platooning limited his opportunity. In 2023, he split time with Gary Sanchez, hit .331 in 42 games before a thumb injury. 2024, he started as the number one catcher, started hot, cooled off, thumb injury again, ended season behind veteran Elias Diaz, and last year was called up 3 times, but only DH, went 0 for 21 with 6 walks, showing mechanical adjustments not translating to Major League Baseball yet. Career MLB numbers, .240 hitter, .372 slug, doubles or homers every 14.4 at-bats. In AAA, been drastically different. He has dominated the PCL, .336 average, .1036 OPS, .441 on base percentage. He has rediscovered his approach and love of the game mentally and emotionally in a different spot, according to coaches Padron and Zamora with the organization. The Padres are surrounding Luis Campusano with coaches and mentors he trusts. Craig Stammen at manager, who is the manager and a former teammate. Raul Padron, who is the AAA hitting coach. Kevin Plawecki, catching instructor, who's been familiar with Campusano from El Paso. The emphasis for the Padres has been on trust, relationships, and building confidence, and the goal is for him to return to being a productive, reliable MLB catcher while fostering a positive mental state. Let's talk about that for a second, Frank. The Padres are investing everything they can for Luis Campusano to have success. So the question is Luis Campusano finally ready to prove himself as a starting caliber catcher after years of really being jerked around in the organization? My answer to that is I think he is. And this is the best opportunity he has been given. And you cannot, if it doesn't work out now, it's never going to work out because the Padres are investing time, effort, money, and everything possible into Luis Campusano to be a good player. This, I think, is Luis Campusano's final chance.
Yeah, they're going out of their way at this point to try to give him a genuine opportunity to be able to make this team and be able to stick. I don't see how you could say, if you're Luis Campusano, that they did not give you a fair shake this time. I mean, he's gone into camps as the starting catcher and has lost it, whether it be due to injury, whether it be due to just his performance, not being able to hit. I mean, there have been reasons why he has lost the starting job. He's not expected to be a starter now. He's expected to play once, maybe twice a week, possibly come in as a DH, maybe a pinch hitter in a spot if it calls for it. I honestly can't see a scenario where you can't say that the Padres have been more than accommodating to him, especially this year.
I look at this and there's a lot of good stuff in this piece by Kevin Acee. It's very long if you want to read more about Luis Campusano. But, you know, when you look at some of the quotes from the people in the organization, like Joe Musgrove, right? Joe Musgrove talking about Luis Campusano. He said this: more engagement for sure. I think every player probably experiences it at some point, and I feel like he's kind of realizing that. Like, what I'm doing is not working. His effort has always been there, but the engagement and the approach towards knowing your teammates better and being involved in the process of it, I think he's put a lot more effort in that realm. And just like in general, his overall well-being and mentality seems like it's in a really good place. Like, he's happy to be here again. He seems excited to work. He's always here early, getting something done, just a lot more engagement. I think that's all of the right things. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't think you can evaluate him previously compared to where he's at in the mental state right now. I've been there. I've been in situations like that where I'm not excited to come to work, and I was not excited to be part of the process or engaging with other people in the areas that I've worked. And guess what? My performance was not good. The mental side of things of being a professional matters, and I love the fact that Luis Campusano seems to be embracing this, embracing what it takes to be a pro, because it's more than just showing up and playing baseball to be a professional baseball player. It's about all of these things, especially for a position that is that's very important for this in terms of a catching position. You've got to be mentally tough. You've got to be able to engage with your players. You've got to be able to have relationships with the pitchers that you are catching. It's a vital, it's so vital to how successful you are in baseball. And I think he got away from that. And the fact that he seems to love the game again, and that's coming from multiple people in the organization, is great news, I think, for the Padres, because these guys do go through a lot. It's tough to be a professional baseball player. It's more than just playing the game. It's about all the other things, especially for a catcher, Frank.
And I sympathize with that. I sympathize with that struggle. I'm a very introverted person. This is kind of easy for me because I see it as just a one-on-one conversation between you and me. I don't think about, how many people are out there potentially listening. And I do it in the press box also. Like I'm very quiet. I'm to myself. There's a select group of people that I talk to, and I really haven't gotten out of that little bubble. And for people who are introverted, that could be a hard thing to do. It could be a scary thing to do. So I sympathize with Campy having to put in extra effort to seem like he's part of the team, being a better teammate. And that's something that both him and I apparently are trying to really focus on and work on and get better at this year. And that will definitely boost your overall mood when you go into the clubhouse and you're not seeing guys as, well, they're my teammates, but I just want to focus on doing my own thing. And you see everyone as a friend, as someone you can openly talk to without fear of judgment or bias or whatever. That's only going to make all of your other areas of performance a lot better.
I mean, if we talk about like just Luis Campusano's path to the major leagues, right? He's from Georgia originally. I mean, he came up. I mean, I'm sure he was on a bunch of different good travel ball teams, right? I mean, he was a high draft pick, didn't go to college. I mean, this is a guy that has always been really good at playing baseball. And when you have these approaches and you have these lists, like he's playing on a bunch of different teams, right? Like he went to Cross Creek High School in Augusta, Georgia, right? On top of that, I'm sure he had played on numerous, like all of these guys that came up through the system, like of American baseball in the United States. Think about how many teams these guys are playing on, right? These travel ball teams. That's just how travel ball is. And I mean, you look at guys like Bryce Harper played for the San Diego Show at some point in time. Mm-hmm. Bryce Harper's in Vegas. Okay, so he would come out and play as like a hired gun for the San Diego Show in certain tournaments. I mean, there's a lot of that going on. This is the first time probably in his life being part of the Padres where he has had the same teams, right? The same teammates year in and year out. Before he'd never have to connect with these players because it was always I'm on this team. Here's a bunch of guys. We're playing. It's all about the individual and getting your ability to a level where you can get to the professional level. But the difference between being an amateur and being a pro is all of these extra things. And I think Callis All Day in the chat said it's like Major League Baseball catchers mature a little bit later than a lot of other position players because there's a lot that they have to do in being a catcher. Yeah. And I think he went through a lot of growing pains with this. I mean, obviously a guy that, as we have seen in this article, being very introverted and not part of the, not necessarily a rah-rah guy, not a leader. I mean, anybody can be a leader, but that doesn't mean everybody's built to lead. And just because you're good at baseball and you're the best player of the team doesn't mean you're a leader either. But for Luis Campusano, the quote that I look at the most right now is from El Paso manager Pete Zamora in this article from Kevin Acee. He says he fell in love with the game again. There was always a big, gigantic heart there, and sometimes as we get older in life, trying to figure out all that kind of stuff out, his journey brought his heart back. I saw the heart coming back. I saw the smiles coming back, and it has kind of loosened him up. I mean, what a joy last year. He wasn't like the team leader, rah-rah guy, but guys rallied around him, and they watched his work ethic. I think over the years, misunderstood would probably be the term for him. I've always loved him because I understood the heart of this kid, but I see the joy again and the love for teammates and the opening up to teammates. I think that's a big step. I really do. I think that's a big step for a guy like Luis Campusano. And now to me, for everybody, and there's people in the chat that are like just done with him. This is the last hurrah. Everything's in the right direction. If he can't make it work now, it's never going to happen. He's not good enough for Major League Baseball. But if I had to pick a year where he finally puts it together, it's starting to sound like Luis Campusano might be ready for a big year. And we like to say on the show, right but too early. Maybe Chris Ella was right, but just too early when it comes to Luis Campusano. And we'll see what happens this year. But so far, everything's stacking up in the right direction for Luis Campusano. I think he's going to have a big season. I really do.
Yeah, and of course we all hope for it. I mean, I part of that attitude turnaround, I'm sure, was his performance. He was starting to feel like the player that he used to be or that he was growing up. So he's getting that admiration and he's getting back into the swing of things. And you have to think, as you brought up, him always being one of, if not the best player on a team he's played for his entire life. That's something that, as a Met fan, go back a couple of years ago with Mark Vientos. When he came up, he was slated to be the next big thing. And he struggled. He really, really struggled. And then 2024 came around and he's just mashing the ball left and right, has that big grand slam against the Dodgers in the NLCS. That was the first time he really ever had to face adversity in his baseball playing life. And it took him a minute, as he's admitted, it took him a minute to figure out how to get around it. So maybe that was the case with Luis Campusano, also on top of the fact that he's introverted and all that stuff. So maybe he figured it out last year. Maybe something clicked and he said, well, tightening up isn't helping me. Tightening up and playing like I've got the world on my shoulders isn't helping me.
Yeah, you can never play any sport like that.
Let me put all of this baggage down for a second and just go out there like I used to and just have fun with it. Okay, now that's working. Let me build on that. So if there is going to be a year for Luis Campusano, this is going to be the year.
Last quote that AJ Preller mentioned it. I mean, and Kevin Acee writes in the article, AAA is widely viewed as the worst level of professional baseball. No one wants to be there. It's so close to the majors, and it is full of guys who have been there and just want to get back. I mean, it's almost like baseball purgatory. And as AJ Preller says in a quote in this article, to go to AAA and do what he did there, that's not easy when you think you're a big league player. Mm-hmm. That's also true. I mean, he could have went down there and pouted and just been done. But I think he's really made the steps that he needs, and I think he is going to compete for some reps. And I think the competition's big. I mean, I was shocked that they didn't bring anybody in to push Luis Campusano, but they obviously did that for a reason. Yeah,
and seeing this article, I don't think he needs that extra motivation anymore.
I don't think so either.
I think maybe a couple years ago he might have. This year, I don't think he needed it. I think he's got what it takes mentally to be a Major League Baseball player right now.
And the kid's only 27 years old.
Yeah.
It's not like he's 33. It's like last-ditch effort to try to make him good. He's shown signs of progress and stuff too. So we'll see how Luis Campusano does. When we come back, Herman Marquez, new Padre, met with the media today. We'll hear what he had to say and a couple things from Craig Stammen, Braden Sopren Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The 68th running of the Daytona 500 delivered exactly what the Great American Race promises: drama, chaos, and a finish nobody saw coming until the final 500 yards. Tyler Reddick won the Daytona 500, and he did it by leading exactly one lap, the only lap that mattered. On the final stretch, Reddick got a massive push from teammate Riley Herbst, powered past Chase Elliott, and drove his number 45 23XL Racing Toyota to a 0.308 second victory. Behind him, absolute mayhem. Frank, what could you take away from the Daytona 500? And in layman's terms, explain to us how Tyler Reddick was able to win the Daytona 500.
I hate fuel mileage racing at super speedways, but that's a completely different topic for a completely different video. So when we're talking about drafting and getting a push, so the car out in front of a group creates like a break in the air. And when you're behind, this is why you save fuel when you're behind an 18-wheeler, when you're tailgating behind an 18-wheeler, because it's punching such a big hole in the air. You don't have as much air resistance on your car, so it goes faster. Bump drafting is basically that. It's the car using that speed advantage to bump the car in front of it to help it go a little bit quicker. Tyler Reddick, going into turn 3, used a slingshot move, basically took that run, took that momentum, got to the outside of Chase Elliott to go and grab that, to try to grab the lead, took second place from it. Then in turn 4, got to the inside and made the move to the inside, while his teammate Riley Herbst at 23:11 was able to get to the outside, and that caused just a big crash.
It was a race that had a record 25 different leaders, 65 lead changes, and a race that felt like it had 5 different endings in the final 2 laps. And for Tyler Reddick, I mean, the win carried extra weight. After going winless in 2025, there were questions. When you drive for 2311 owned by Danny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, expectations are championship level every single season. Reddick admitted the drought forced the team to look in the mirror this offseason, and Sunday was definitely validation.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a very, very good oval racer as well as road racing. He's a very, very competent driver. And for him to have a season like he had last year with a team and components that a team like 2311 has, that was a very, very big drought for him, and then able immediately to come back and take the win this week. Again, as you said, it's just major validation for him and everything the team was able to do over the course of the offseason.
And fittingly, it came in a race that nearly slipped away multiple times. At the white flag, it looked like Carson Hocevar might steal it until he spun in turn 1. That handed the lead to Chase Elliott, who appeared poised to grab his first Daytona 500. But Elliott knew the run was coming. He chose not to throw a desperation double block on Reddick, like avoiding a wreck that could have wiped them both out. And Reddick capitalized. Earlier in the race, we saw the big one, a 20-car accident ignited when Justin Allgaier turned across the nose of Hamlin late in stage 2. That wreck reshuffled the entire field and showed once again that at Daytona, control is just an illusion.
Yeah, no, you cannot, on super speedway racing, you cannot under any circumstances predict how that race is going to go, because anything can happen. William Byron had to go to a backup car, started from the back of the field, was caught up in about 5 different wrecks, and was still going into turn 1 on the final lap, still had a chance to win until that wreck with Hocevar happened, forced him onto the apron, forced him back up the track, really slowed him down. But anything can happen at those super speedway races, which is part of the reason why Daytona draws so big as it does every single year.
Stage winner Zane Smith grabbed his first career stage win in stage 1. Bubba Wallace won stage 2 under caution after the massive pileup. But in the end, the race belonged to Tyler Reddick and to teamwork. Michael Jordan made it clear afterward Herbst's push was the difference. That kind of manufacturer and team loyalty wins super speedway races. Top 5: Reddick, Stenhouse Jr., Logano, Elliott, Keselowski. And just like that, the 2026 season begins with a statement. 2311 Racing is back in the win column in the biggest race of them all. Oh, and by the way, Tyler Reddick had his car on display here in San Diego. One of them painted like San Diego State with the Aztecs logo and everything like that before their win against Nevada. I'm just saying. What did the Snapdragon Panda outside of the arena standing next to the Tyler Reddick car, what did that Panda know that we didn't know coming into Sunday?
I don't know if that car is getting raced. I think that might have just been a promotional car either. I couldn't see anything that was saying that car is going to get raced, but it would be really, really cool to see that on track here. You also had
they should race that one here in San Diego.
Yeah,
that should be the one that they use.
Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible. Also this week at Daytona, Chandler Smith had a dramatic victory of his own.
11:25 coming up. Make sure and remember to listen at 1 for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97through-thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Sopren. This is the Braden Sopren Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got some sound to get to you, to play for you guys. Sam Levitt will be joining us in the next segment to give us a report on what's going on at spring training. But he has posted a lot of different interviews out there. We got Craig Stammen. Of course, the daily Craig Stammen stuff is on our YouTube page at 97 Through the Fan on YouTube, as well as a lot of these interviews with some of the players. The media met with Herman Marquez today, and this is the first time that we have seen Herman Marquez meet with the media before since signing with the San Diego Padres. And a couple of things were asked about, or asked to Herman Marquez, and the first one was about his excitement to join the San Diego Padres. So let's see what Herman Marquez had to say.
How different will that be for you? The truth for most of your time in the last few years in Colorado was not that they had a real chance.
Yeah, I'm excited to play with a team like wants to win and likes to win. And I mean, when I was young, I had team like they like to win and it's cool feel, to have team like that.
The last couple of years for you, all health in terms of the numbers not being there, the performance not being as consistent? Is it all just trying to work back, or?
Yeah, all health. I feel good. Like my body feels good, ready to go and show that like I'm healthy to be every 5 days in the mound.
You pitched in the National League West for a long time against the Padres. What have you seen in terms of the Padres' evolution from when you started to what they are as a team now, or what this team is now?
Yeah, I mean, from 6 years from here, I mean, you can see the difference, and I feel like those a lot of chance that made it, and that is they made a good team, big names, and ¿cómo se dice? Como que se acomplejaron bien en
They came together.
Sí, yeah. Como se acomplejaron todo en la misma página.
Yeah, they all came together and worked on the same page.
What have your interactions been like with Ruben Niebla, and what do you kind of expect to get out of working with him in that relationship?
Yeah, as soon as I got here and we started, working together, he showed me a lot of things like I need to work on it, and I'm gonna keep working. And I heard and I feel like he's one of the best in the business.
It seemed pretty obvious that coming back from the Tommy John, did you come back like too quickly, or like how much did that affect you the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I feel like it was a little quick. It was a little rush, and I didn't get that time to get ready. I mean, I felt good, but like I felt it was rushing a little bit. That's why I get set back and battling with my injury.
This is Herman Marquez talking about why he signed with San Diego. And the next clip we're going to play for you, the last one, was about kind of his return from Tommy John surgery and what speaking with former Padres manager and current senior advisor Bud Black and how much of an impact that had with Herman Marquez signing with the Padres. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people just kind of assume that, but here's what Herman Marquez said to the media when it came to his return after Tommy John and what his conversation was like with Bud Black.
Pretty obvious that the coming back from the Tommy John, did you come back like too quickly, or like how much did that affect you the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I feel like it was a little quick. It was a little rush. And, you know, I didn't get that time to, you know, get ready. I mean, I felt good, but like, I felt it was rushing a little bit. That's why that, you know, I get set back and, you know, battling with my injury.
What is different this offseason and now for you health-wise?
I mean, no, I work hard, you know, to get a job and, you know, show that I'm healthy and I'm going to be healthy the whole year.
Did you talk to Bud Black before you signed?
Yeah, we were in touch. We were talking, and yes.
What did he tell you about San Diego specifically? He has obviously a lot of experience here too.
Yeah, we talk about, you know, the stuff, like the pitching coach, that he knows he was a pitcher and he knows that it is good stuff.
Herman Marquez meeting with the media earlier today. We are almost 24 hours away from first pitch between the Padres and the Mariners. About 24 hours and 30 minutes, if you will. Cool about Herman Marquez. I mean, obviously not extremely fluent in English. Go out there and try to answer a lot of questions on his own. You know, I do remember from Spanish class, como se dice, is how do you say? That was kind of cool during that little deal. Guys, I love when players try to do that, and speak in the native tongue here in the United States to the media, not through a translator. That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, it was very, very nice to see from Herman. It's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting starting pitching battle for sure. And Craig Stammen talked about the 6-man rotation yesterday. Kevin Acee wrote about a 6-man rotation today. I'm sure there's going to be more conversations about it. Plus, like Juan Ruiz, when he called in to the show, he makes a good point about how they could potentially have the roster set at the beginning of the year for the pitching staff anyway. But I think it's going to be if Herman Marquez and Walker Buehler have really good spring trainings or decent spring trainings, I think they're on this team. I really do. I mean, they signed Herman Marquez to a major league deal. It's not like he's on a major league contract. Mm-hmm. When we come back, we're going to talk with Sam Levitt. He's going to join us live from Peoria to move some things up a little bit. We're going to get the full update, what his thoughts are on a 6-man rotation as well. Braden Sopren Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Looking for the heartbeat of University of San Diego athletics right now. Might not be on the hardwood, but it might be on the diamond, because while basketball continues to ride a roller coaster, Torero baseball just opened 2026 season by taking a series on the road, and softball is quietly building something gritty and dangerous. Let's start with the baseball headlines. Baseball, back-to-back defending West Coast Conference regular season champion, open 2026 the way contenders do. Road series victory, East Coast travel knocked it off, took 2 out of 3 at Charlotte. And game 1 was a fun one. 7-4 win that had everything, including just the 3rd triple play in program history. Just the 3rd. I witnessed one last year at UCLA, but a triple play, Adrian Beltre Jr., Gabe Springer, and Vincent Venverlo turning defense into momentum in game 1. That was a fun one. Game 2 of the doubleheader. Very ugly. 13-0 loss. Ended up getting run ruled. But what was good about it was in the second part of this, they were able to, in the second part of the doubleheader, put up 14 runs. 11 men to the plate in the 9th inning. Aiden Howard had 2 triples. Jaden Lobliner, 4 RBIs, 6 Toreros with multi-hit games. That's the response you want to see out of what was a tough start
to the day. You finish strong. You take 2 out of 3. And don't overlook this. Like, Drake Fry has returned after 652 days off from elbow surgery. That matters long-term. Now it gets interesting. Coming up next, they got Long Beach State as we're recording this, but they got the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament, Utah, Creighton, and at San Diego State, early resume building for the Toreros.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you go back to game 1 of the season against Charlotte, a huge game early, scored a bunch of runs in the first couple of innings, allowed Charlotte to kind of come back in the game, but was able to finish it off. Game 2, as you mentioned, mercy rule, 13-0. And then you go into that series finale where you could either let what happened the night before bother you, or you could just absolutely flush it. And that's exactly what they did. They more than flushed it. If I remember correctly off the top of my head, I believe it was like a 14-3 win.
Yeah, they went 14-4 after losing 13-0 in a run rule.
Yeah, so they definitely got right back on it. And that's a big showing for Brock Undrich and this team, and what kind of mentality that they're going to have moving forward this season.
As for softball, they played some small ball and they had some grit over the weekend, and they've continued to do that throughout the season. The Torero softball team 5-4 and playing classic pressure softball. 4-3 win over Colorado State. Infield singles, bunt pressure, speed forcing errors, and an inside the park home run from Michelle Delgado. That's chaos softball in a good way. Charlie Johnson threw a complete game and closed it herself. They now head to Phoenix for the Grand Canyon University tournament. They got Grand Canyon, Santa Barbara, North Florida, Montana. Team wins with speed, defense, composure late. They're not flashy, they're pesky, and that travels well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can be as annoying as you want wherever you want, and that will play. It's different when it comes to power. Power, you might have a little bit of issues in certain places, but yeah, just being as annoying as humanly possible works everywhere you go.
Men's basketball, they had a very much a week that was kind of the description of their season. I mean, they had a huge win on Wednesday over a red-hot Portland team that had just beaten Gonzaga. And senior Juanse Gorosito, who used to play at Portland, had 19 points, 5 threes, 5 assists, 3 steals, all against his former team. And USD had 12 threes and defended the arc beautifully. And then on Sunday, they ended up getting smoked by San Francisco 92-79. They led at halftime. They gave up a 12-0 run to start the second half. San Francisco shot nearly 70% in the second half. The Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Sopren. This is the Braden Sopren Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, Frank, we got a lot to talk about still about the Padres. Sam Levitt's going to join us in about a couple of minutes or so as we wait for him to log on here at the Peoria Sports Complex. Ben and Woods were talking about him and the social media stuff. About social media, people in the wild. He posted his like a day in the life.
Yes, he did.
Video yesterday. Watching people do that in public is what Ben and Woods were talking about. It's hilarious. It's so funny. Like nobody ever sees that part of the deal. Like you're just like, oh, this video is really cool. Then you see it in real life, and you're like, what is that guy doing over there? Anyway, Sam's about to log on here. I think we're ready to get firing here with Sam Levitt, who joins us on the David P. Shapiro Sammy Spring Training. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We bring in Spring Training Sammy. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, guys. Doing well. Much nicer day here in Peoria than what we had yesterday, which was a lot of cold and wind and a little bit of rain, but it was a little chilly this morning, but now bright blue skies here in Peoria. Some live BPs going on right now. Yuki Matsui just threw. David Morgan is throwing right now. And, of course, tomorrow we have the Cactus League lid lifter, if you will, with Logan Gillespie making the start. So that should be very exciting.
Let's talk about Logan Gillespie for a second. I mean, obviously the first starter of the season, usually a bullpen guy, but Craig Stammen mentioned when he talked about Logan Gillespie, he is a Swiss Army knife. I mean, they think he could do a lot of different things. I mean, obviously he's another one of those guys that is out of options that would have to make the team, but what did Craig say specifically about what's so appealing about Logan Gillespie and factoring into this team?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I view him kind of as a potential depth piece. Obviously, you mentioned the no options part of it, but he is a guy who has gone up and down a lot. And when he's been called upon, has done a fairly nice job for the Padres the last couple of years. So we'll see. I kind of put him down on the list on what is such a crowded bullpen group. Would be hard for me to see him making the team, just considering, you look at the group right now, even without Jason Adam, and you can very easily probably name 7 of the 8 guys with a good amount of, not good amount of certainty, with like ultimate certainty. And then maybe there's one spot you're talking about out of the 8. So who knows, just because he has no options doesn't mean that he couldn't end up back with the Padres and play a role in their bullpen depth at some point this season, but good for him getting a start tomorrow in the Cactus League opener.
Yeah, it's good to have baseball back. Actual games instead of a lot of things that are going on. And on the radio, we'll be doing it in about 24 hours and 20 minutes, 19 minutes now. But who's counting, right, Sam? Who's counting? Let's talk about the pitching staff a little bit more and kind of a follow-up. I mean, you mentioned there might only be one bullpen spot available, but there has been conversations now over the last 24 hours, 48 hours about a 6-man rotation. They asked, the media did, about it to Craig Stammen. He said all options are on the table. Kevin Acee then wrote about it today. And I think a lot of people are intrigued with the fact that you have Herman Marquez and you have Walker Buehler now. You got guys like Tristan McKenzie battling for a spot, all the players you already had, and there's not that many opportunities in the starting rotation. What's the conversations like with the 6-man versus 5-man out there? And what do you think the Padres might be leaning towards at this point? Or is it going to be a trying to fit as many guys on the roster as we possibly can situation near opening day?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a few different factors that play into it. And I do think it's early to really know what they're leaning towards in that department. But the few reasons you would do it, if you hopefully have guys that really show up here and perform well and are competing for that, if you're going with a 5-man, 5th and final rotation spot, you just have so many names now in the mix between Marquez and Buehler and McKenzie and Gonzalez and Hart and all these guys. Look, it would be a good problem to have, to feel like you're in a situation where let's say Walker Buehler shows up here and is good, and you feel like, could play a real role on this team in 2026. Well, you may not want to lose him by not putting him on the opening day roster. So could you see a situation where you go to a 6-man so you can fit in one more guy and at least buy yourself some time to kind of figure out what you're going to do? You could. Look, I also think there's an element of, you have a guy like a Joe Musgrove who, obviously is fully healthy and ready to go, but I do think they're going to have to not be careful with him, but at least monitor how he's being used in his innings if you want him to make it through the full season and into the postseason, hopefully coming off the Tommy John. So there would be a number of different, arguments to it, generally just giving your guys more rest. I mean, and a guy in Michael King who didn't throw a ton of innings last year. There are a lot of different reasons you could come up with and elements and advantages to going with the 6-man, but you're right. I think it would be a good problem for them to have if they feel like, let's say a Marquez or a Buehler or somebody else, like they want to keep one of these guys beyond opening day if it means going to a 6-man and squeezing one more in. So interesting question, but probably a little bit early for any kind of definitive answer.
We're talking with Sam Levitt. He joins us a couple of times a week live from Peoria, Arizona. Give us a Padres spring training update. A lot of talk about Luis Campusano coming in this year. We briefly talked about him in a previous conversation. Kevin Acee wrote a great piece on him earlier today. At least it was released late last night, earlier today. But when it comes to Luis Campusano, a lot of guys in the organization are saying a lot of good things about how he has changed kind of his mindset, his attitude, not, more of a sense of understanding what it's like to be a pro. And the quote was, he's fallen in love with the game again. What have you seen out of Luis Campusano around the team? I mean, he's a very introverted guy, doesn't like to be out there as much, but it sounds like he's really embracing getting to know his teammates more and kind of that professional role that he might have not had to have had before becoming a professional baseball player.
Yeah, I think we touched on it, in one of our conversations last week. He's just being given, I think, the biggest runaway to be a real contributor to this team that he's had in a while. Now, he's had his opportunities, right? I mean, we've seen Luis get a lot of at-bats, and we've seen the ups and downs he's had at the major league level, and it felt like last year was sort of a low point, right? In not only his performance at the plate, but also just in kind of the way the Padres seemed to feel about him, right? It kind of felt that way last year, like we were sort of at a low point or maybe even a point of no return, but different manager, different staff, I think a front office that believes in him. And I think, as Kevin alluded to in his piece, man, they need him. Like, again, like I said last week, Freddie Fermin's in a situation where he is being relied upon as the number one catcher for the first time in his career. It's generally a position where you see some split of time, and you need a second catcher to play quite a bit and be productive. So I'm with the general feeling around here of he is a very, very important player to this team. He really is, both offensively and what he's going to be asked to do potentially behind the plate as well. Seems in good spirits to me, seems very focused to me, and is doing all the right things from everything I've heard and I've seen. So hopefully a sign of things to come for Luis, because I think he's a very, very important part of this team. He might not be a guy you think of right away as being somebody who's pretty vital, but you could definitely make the argument he's kind of a wild card to this team of what they can get and what his potential continues to be.
We got a lot of those players here with the San Diego Padres. A lot of high ceilings, I think, this year for a lot of different players. We've talked about now some of the players that are coming back, but also some new players. I mean, Walker Buehler is a guy that has had a great career, and then all of a sudden an injury happens, and he has just been trying to find himself ever since. He finished last year in Philadelphia on a little bit of a hot run after not being able to have success with Boston. He's battling for a spot. He's only 31 years old, just threw a bullpen yesterday or 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, for the first time. How's Walker Buehler been in camp from your observations on some of the things that you've seen?
Yeah, I think, he's only been here a couple of days, and that bullpen was yesterday, so he's thrown one. The thing that stood out to me about that bullpen in particular, and I never pretend to be the pitching guru, especially when I'm looking at a major league bullpen, because quite frankly, they all seem pretty good when they're throwing in the bullpens and the glove is popping. They all sound really good. But what stood out to me yesterday from that pen was just how closely he was working with Ruben. I mean, this was, a situation where it was one-on-one attention, right? And it was part of the timing. There are only a couple of guys throwing, and sometimes, you'll be out there and 3-4 guys are throwing, and Ruben's kind of bouncing back and forth. But whether it was intended to be this way or not, it was very much a one-on-one session between Ruben and Walker Buehler, and there was a lot of communication. Joe Musgrove and Michael King, who's walking by right now, were out there, and and also kind of watching him. And based on what he said to the media a couple of days ago, look, he's appreciates the opportunity, and I think understands he's just here trying to make a team. The interesting thing about him is that the very end of last season with Philadelphia, he actually put together some good starts. He felt pretty good about what he did in the offseason. And look, this is a guy who obviously has a lot of talent and has dealt with a lot of injuries. And I don't think it's crazy to think that if healthy and with a little bit of Ruben Niebla magic, there's something still left in there. And, beyond that, Braden, the Padres need the depth. I mean, whether it's on an opening day roster in starting rotation, or it comes in June. And if Walker's, comfortable going down and pitching in El Paso for a while, again, I don't know what the answers to those questions are going to be when it's all said and done at the end of camp, but they need the depth, and bringing in a guy like that who has that kind of resume and has talent, and you get him with Ruben Niebla, I don't think it's crazy to think at all that there is something untapped in there, and hopefully the Padres can bring it out of Walker Buehler.
We're talking with Sam Levitt out there in Peoria, Arizona, part of our couple of times a week that we have him on to give us an update on what's going on at spring training. Sam, you've been to a lot of these last couple of years. You've been to multiple spring trainings here with the San Diego Padres. A lot of good content, obviously, that you are putting out there. But I've noticed, maybe it's just a slight notice because they're coming back. But, the team camaraderie continues to build with guys that have been here and it's the same teammates over and over again. I think that is a huge factor a lot of the times when it comes to professional organizations. I'm thinking mostly close to the competition they had with the infielders that you put out there on social media, but seems like the internal competition has been fun. Seems like the team is starting to is building even more than previous years.
Yeah, it is interesting. And the morning guys asked me some type of this question as well. I think something that really stands out is this is a group that's been together a long time. I mean, you have guys that are now going on 6-7 years. I mean, major players in this group, obviously high price players as well, that have been together a long time now. And I think it shows, in the way they interact. I think it shows in the kind of the culture they've built here, the way they welcome in new guys. I think on the pitching side of things, it's extremely evident. It's one of those things that just pops off the backfields, how close these guys are. And again, there's no coincidence that Griffin Canning, Walker Buehler are throwing their first bullpens, and you have Joe Musgrove and Michael King and Nick Pivetta standing right behind them watching. And those guys are out there watching the live BPs of all those guys. Again, I can't speak to in spring training if that happens with every team. Maybe it does, but I can tell you it definitely happens here. And it's noticeable. You can feel it. Seems like the guys are loose, having fun, and it's a group that has now been together for a while. So you'd hope that were the case. But it is something that's popped off the backfields this spring training in particular. I think you're right about that. I think the vibe of the videos and the sense you get from those, I do think that's pretty accurate, which is a good thing.
Last question for you, Sam, because then you got to get rolling here, and we are getting to the top of the hour. But you geeked out a little bit on the ABS system yesterday on social media. You got to see it in full force. Got to see the guys have some fun with it yesterday as they actually played in the stadium for the first time. A lot of different at bats out there, but take away from the ABS system. Also, take away from Castellanos, Jackson Merrill. Some of the highlights you posted yesterday.
Yeah, it's funny. Craig Stammen told us today that they're pretty convinced the ABS system yesterday was not calibrated properly because apparently there were pitches that looked fairly close that said it was like 3-4 feet off the plate. And, it's interesting. I wasn't really focused on it while it was going on. But, yeah, there were some pitches that seemed very close that, were very, very big misses on the video board. Like, Ethan Salas called for a couple of challenges, and they were way off. And we were all kind of sitting there like, man, that was kind of really far off. What was that? And now after hearing that, I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't working properly. So there is the caveat, but it was good to see those guys practicing with it. Yesterday it was fun. I mean, they were into it. There were no fans in the stands at the big stadium. So, they were into it, and kind of, Castellanos won a challenge, whether properly calibrated or not, and they were going wild for him, and then he hit a double, and they're going wild for that. So they no doubt had fun with it. I will say this, last year, though, was kind of this is kind of cool, right. Kind of cool to see how this works. I do think in spring, starting tomorrow, I do think they're going to take it more seriously in really getting these guys in the rhythm of how this works and the strategy behind it. I thought it was pretty clear today. There will be strategy. I mean, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, just hey, if you don't like that pitch, challenge it. If you're a hitter, it's not going to be like that. I think it's going to be, hey, if it's the second inning in a scoreless game, 2 outs and nobody on, you're not challenging pitches because we need those for later in a key situation, right? Makes a lot of sense. And even Craig said it today, there's a chance that guys are going to get their challenge privileges revoked. Which to me makes sense. If you're not responsibly challenging, or you're proving that you can't do it successfully, well, then you might be in a spot where it's like, hey, you're not going to do that anymore and waste our challenges. So it is going to be a strat. I on one hand, I think it's going to be a very, very little change. On the other hand, I know we're hitting the top of the hour. On the other hand, I do think we're going to notice it late in games more than we're anticipating, because you're going to be in spots where it's the 8th inning tie game, runners on second and third, 2 outs, and there's a 2-2 pitch off the corner that with a challenge would have been ball 3, and you don't have a challenge left, and it's called strike 3. So I think it's going to be, on one hand, a very subtle change, and on another hand, I think it's going to be something we talk about. I do.
I think so too, Sam. I mean, there could be a situation a guy gets emotional first at bat in the first inning. He burns all 3 challenges right there. Done for the day.
Right.
Sam, appreciate the time. Enjoy the sunshine. Look forward to talking to you next week. And when we talk next week, we'll actually have some games to talk about, which is going to be fun.
We go. All right. Sounds good.
Thanks again to Sam Levitt joining us live from Peoria. Noon lunchtime hour when we come back.
the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Sopren Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Sopren.
All right, we got to get to the, since we missed it at the end of last hour, since we were talking with Sam Levitt, a lot of great stuff from Sam out at spring training. And when we talk to him next Tuesday, it's going to be great because we are going to actually have games to talk about. We've just been leading up to the first game. I mean, don't they have the Dodgers on Sunday? I think they do. Padres spring training schedule. They got the Mariners tomorrow, 12:10 first pitch. We'll have the coverage for you here on 97 through the Fan. We will have that game broadcasted live. First game of the year. Saturday, they'll be going to Surprise to take on the Royals. And then Sunday, they will play the Dodgers. Monday, they got the Brewers. Tuesday, they got the Cubs. Wednesday, they got the Angels. How about that? There you go. It's your schedule. That is the gold final for the women's hockey, correct? Canada is up 1-0 in the third period.
Gold medal game.
Gold medal game. See if Team USA can pull it out.
Wait a minute. Wait.
What happened?
NBC, what did you just do?
I don't know.
NBC was broadcasting.
I think that was a
showing
live look in. It's supposed to be on USA, I thought. You clicked the wrong because they were both on there at the same time. They did a live look in.
It's like,
oh no.
They put it somewhere on the screen. It's where it says live look in.
Don't get me started on things on a screen. My man Johnny. Shout out to my man Johnny. He asked about like our commercial breaks on YouTube, right?
Oh, you mean like this one?
Yeah.
Or that one?
Correct. So,
or that one?
He said, why do you do reruns during the YouTube breaks? And I said, they're not reruns. It's extra content that we create just for the in-between. Instead of looking at a blank screen, you get updates on different things. And it's an area for us to talk about other sports that we don't have time to talk about during our 4-hour show, because there's so much to digest in the sports world. So we have a lot of that content on YouTube. And if you want some of this content, you can go to youtube.com/@B_SURP. We highly suggest that you subscribe to us so you can see all these videos because they all get posted in regular form. So we do that all the time on YouTube. We record them on Tuesdays. Usually we're going to start doing it on Mondays. And then we air extra content for YouTube. So my guy, Johnny, was asking about it. And he said, well, why do you do that? I'm like, it's extra content. He's like, I always get confused sometimes when not knowing that you're either live or in commercial break. You should put something on there that says previously recorded a commercial break. And I said, we do.
You mean like this?
We do. And then he texts me back and he goes, what are you talking about? And I'm like, we put it, we're in a commercial break. And then he sends, go back to the USD one. And he's like, let me check. And he goes, no, it doesn't. And then he sends a screenshot from our USD update from this week in a picture. And it's literally that screen. And he goes, where does it say it? I had to send it back to him and have it circled that it says we are in a commercial break. And he goes, oh my God, I need more coffee today.
Johnny.
Ignore everything I just said.
Johnny, I'm going to be real with you right now. I think, what is today?
Thursday.
Day 2,487 without a burrito.
Yeah.
I think we're not going to see a 2,348. I think you have officially lost on the burrito.
Johnny, hey, you know what? I've been there, Johnny. He's like, you know when it's right there and you still don't see it? Yeah. If I put your chat up there on YouTube, it's got a cover where it says we're at a commercial break. Maybe that's the case. Poor Johnny. Not a foul, though, but the new drop for Johnny. The new drop. The new drop?
Oh, my bad.
Come on. One more time. You put in all these new drops and you forget to
I was trying to think because I'm trying to.
You know what you need? You need the drop, but you need the drop screen on that computer.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm downloading that last segment so we can have that on our YouTube page as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said drop, I'm trying to think of what was just said that could have been a drop. I don't get it. And then you just kept saying it. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
I was trying to hint to the
yes.
Close. What does the new drop say? It says close. One more time.
Close. Close.
Ron White. Where's Nate when you need him for that? All right. I need you to step aside from that because it is time.
Yes, I do need to do a thing.
It is time for Frank Marchese to give us the latest on the sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
Braden, Aztecs just asked you a question, not us.
And
you a question.
All right. I answered it for him. So let's get to what's going on in the sports world, not Padres related. We're going to get back to Padres baseball in just a second.
Yes, we will. All right. So the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks are officially up for sale as the Paul G. Allen estate announced that it has begun a formal sale. It has begun the formal sale process, in accordance with Allen's will, which directed that both the Seattle Seahawks and the Portland Trailblazers eventually be sold, with proceedings going to philanthropy. The move comes just weeks after Seattle's 29-13 win over New England in Super Bowl 60, marking the first time in the Super Bowl era that a team has hit the market so soon after playing in the title game, with Allen and company and Latham and Watkins overseeing the process, expected to stretch into the 2026 offseason before requiring NFL owner approval. With the Seahawks fresh off a championship, does new ownership create momentum for a dynasty or uncertainty that could disrupt a title window?
As long as they don't hire somebody dumb in the front office, they should be okay, right? It's not like it's a money thing. You have to worry about spending money. They all spend the same amount of money. You have to worry about that with the NFL.
What you do have to worry about, though, relocation.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Got to worry about the relocation.
They might move the team to Oakland.
Who knows?
Lacob wants to buy the team. They're moving to Oakland like everybody else, right? What's Barry Bloom have to say about that? Is he going to write a piece for Forbes about how the Seattle Seahawks might move? I digress. All right.
Number 2.
We're going to be very football heavy in this one. It's Christian Parker takes over as defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, facing a massive rebuild after the unit finished last in the NFL in points allowed, 30.1 points per game, and 30th in yards surrendered. But the 34-year-old, the youngest coordinator in franchise history, said he's focused on building it the right way rather than setting expectations. Parker, who learned under Vic Fangio and most recently served as passing game coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, plans to install a 3-4 base defense for the first time in Dallas since 2012, while keeping multiple looks tailored to personnel leaning on strengths such as Quinton Williams, Kenny Clark, and Osa. I'm not pronouncing that. And playmaking corner Deron Bland with two top 20 draft picks, giving the Cowboys flexibility to accelerate the turnaround. Is switching to a 3-4 and trusting a 34-year-old first-time coordinator the bold reset that Dallas needs, or a risky gamble for a team trying to get back to the playoffs?
I don't think it's that much of a risky gamble. I mean, you run a defense that, one, you believe in, and two, you have the personnel for. I mean, you're going to see a lot more at the college level, 4-2-5 and a 3-3-5. In the NFL, you can have more guys in the box. You got to be able to stop the run. Not as many up-tempo, high octane high octane air raid passing attacks in the NFL, more pro style, traditional. So from that perspective, I don't think it's a massive risk. I think it's probably a good thing. You're trying to get the guys excited to play. And is the scheme, the 3-4, going to do that? I don't know, but having a young coach might. And we'll see. But they better use those top 20 draft picks to get some more help on the defense, because the offense looked pretty good. And Dak Prescott was good last year. He was really good last year.
It's the Dallas Cowboys. That's the biggest issue with all of this. It's the Cowboys.
Number 3.
The Kansas City Chiefs restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract for the 4th straight year, converting $54.45 million of his 2026 salary into a signing bonus, and lowering the cap hit from $78.2 million to $34.65 million, creating roughly $43.65 million in much needed cap space as the team works to get under the league limit before March 11th. However, the move pushes future money forward, adding about $11 million to each of the next 4 seasons and ballooning its 2027 cap number to $85 million, all while Kansas City, coming off a rare losing season with Mahomes rehabbing from knee surgery, must still address major roster questions, including potential restructures for Chris Jones and decisions on several high-priced veterans. Is continually restructuring Mahomes' deal smart cap management to stay competitive, or kicking the financial can down the road towards a future crunch?
Well, it's a little bit of both, right? But that's kind of funny. Like, Patrick Mahomes still getting his money, right? He's just getting a signing bonus. He's just getting it a different way. I thought the salary cap prevented players from making money. Isn't that the argument, that it prevents players from making? So, like, Patrick Mahomes would be making like even more money if he wasn't capped. Again, it's a
as
stupid
we say,
argument.
Chris Bassett.
There it is. Patrick Mahomes is still making money, and he is taking a pay cut. He's not even taking a pay cut.
He's taking a salary pay. He's getting the money in a different way.
The money to a different route. He's still getting paid. So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
People are cool, man. People are so
But my
awesome.
favorite baseball player is not going to make $80 million this year. He's only going to make $60 million.
Darn.
Wow, what a shame.
Joey Ohtani's only making $2 million.
He'll play the world's smallest violin later.
Number 4.
This is going to be the last one today. A federal judge signaled that the spring fraud trial for Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz will likely be postponed until October, as both men pleaded not guilty in Brooklyn to a superseding indictment accusing them of conspiring with sports bettors to rig in-game prop bets on specific pitches. Prosecutors allege the pitchers accepted thousands in payoffs that helped gamblers win at least $460,000, with Clase allegedly using coded language like rooster and chicken in messages and even signaling pitch locations during games, while Ortiz's attorney argued that he may have been unaware of any scheme and are seeking a separate trial, as both players remain on paid leave for Major League Baseball, continuing to cooperate with a federal investigation. If these allegations prove true, how damaging would a betting scandal involving active pitchers to Major League Baseball be to Major League Baseball's credibility? And what safeguards should the league implement next?
I mean, the safeguards for these deals is, you're going to make a deal with the betting companies? Fine. You're going to have to limit some of these prop bets. But the problem is now they got all these prediction markets out there too that bypass the whole gambling thing. It's like, we're a prediction market. So in states where gambling's illegal, you could still do the prediction markets with us.
And those prediction markets are getting more and more prominent with leagues signing on with them.
I mean, that's a big issue for these sports. It's the individual prop bets that you cannot control. You could still kind of control with a team effort, an over under. You can kind of control a spread. You can kind of control a money line. You start getting into the weeds of like the daily fantasy mixed with. I mean, it makes leagues a lot of money. It makes a lot of people in our industry a lot of money with sponsorships and endorsements and stuff like that. But it's a slippery slope. It's a fine line. And I just think you have to realize that you are flirting with the disaster of what could potentially be the integrity of your sport. And that happened. I mean, that's what you have to come down to. Are these hundreds of millions of dollars that we're getting in profits and revenue from these betting companies to partner with us worth the potential case of people are going to think we're the WWE and it's all scripted and it's all the integrity of the game's gone? That's the risk you take. That's what you do.
I wouldn't even say the WWE. I would say the NBA.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess the NBA is kind of like that right now with some of this, with their problem. I mean, but it opens the door opportunity. And a lot of these, it's not even like they're not paying these guys enough. They're getting paid a lot. A lot of the guys like the rush. They don't get the rush, apparently, playing professional sports. They get it doing other things.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being juiced up and amped up to play in a major league ballpark,
Yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah. When that rush goes away, I'm sorry, that means you're done.
It's time to retire.
But that means you are mentally checked out. You're done.
Yeah, find something else to get excited for, if you will. It's a slippery slope. It's a can of worms. It's something like, there's a lot of those that are coming up right now in professional and college sports. All the eligibility stuff with college sports that we haven't even talked about, nor do we have time for, with some of the things the NCAA is trying to do to fix a lot of their problems that they have. But you have already opened the box. That's the problem. Speaking of college basketball, college athletics, and radio, Doug Gottlieb. I tell you what, Doug Gottlieb went off in a press conference. He got a suspension for it, but I'm going to tell you right now, free Doug Gottlieb with the nonsense that the Horizon League has put out, especially when you review the tape and know that Doug Gottlieb was not lying. 100% truthful. We'll talk about it when we come back. San Diego FC just took its first real international punch, but it survived. A 1-0 loss Tuesday night, last Tuesday in Mexico City to Pumas Unam. But San Diego FC advances on a 4-2 aggregate score in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Wasn't pretty, wasn't dominant, but it might have been revealing. Big takeaway. Backup goalkeeper for the San Diego FC, who continues to dominate and do very well, Pablo Cisniega, Frank.
Yeah, he is absolutely incredible. 8 saves, faced 25 shots, 44 clearances forced by the defense. So, he did a fantastic job, and this game looked exactly as I had expected the game to look. Nearly 70% possession for Pumas in the second half. San Diego FC looked like a team that was gasping for air with how high they were with the altitude, but also they were looking like a team that they were playing with a 3-goal lead.
We talked about this a lot on the show. Obviously, a lot of time has passed since the game, but the numbers, a little concerning. But I don't really feel it to be that concerning, just because of the fact that they had a huge lead in the aggregate. I mean, 25 shots to San Diego FC's 5, 9 shots on target to 3. I know Mikey Barra said they wanted to push, but at the same time, you didn't want to play your way into what could have been a counterattack.
Yeah, you didn't want to play your way into trouble. And sometimes the best way to do that is kind of like sitting in that limbo of just being balanced and parking the bus, which is what San Diego FC did. So, I mean, you could tell that they were trying, because if they weren't, the possession numbers would have been a lot more out of hand, and you would have seen a lot more players in trouble as far as energy and stamina were concerned than you did. So they definitely didn't play to their full potential, but they also were doing that for a very specific reason in this case.
Now the degree of difficulty rises. San Diego FC advances to face reigning Liga MX champion Toluca FC in the round of 16. First leg will be on March 11th in San Diego. Second leg in Toluca at 8,750 feet elevation. That's 1,250 feet higher than Mexico City, where San Diego FC had just won and looked like they were struggling with the altitude late. If San Diego FC conceded territory like that against Pumas, they can't do it again against the defending Mexican champs.
No, and they won't do it again, especially if the only way you could possibly see them doing that again is if they have another ridiculous aggregate lead when they go down to when they go and play Toluca at their place. So, I mean, it's going to be the first leg of this, which is, again, as you said, I believe is going to be on March 11th. That is going to determine how both teams play in leg 2. So if it's close, if it's tied, I would not expect San Diego FC to look anywhere the same as they did against Pumas in that second leg matchup.
They got their first MLS match coming up this weekend against Montreal here at Snapdragon Stadium. So take a little bit of break from the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but overall, what do you want to see them do as they get back to MLS play?
Just show that last year was not a fluke. And I believe they've done that already in their first 2 matches of the season in the Champions Cup. But playing in league is a very, very different thing. And going up against Montreal is going to be, they were one of the more down teams last year in the Eastern Conference. So I would expect San Diego FC to play well. Again, also your first opportunity to open up a season in front of your home crowd as well.
As for the off-field stuff, now this happened at the conclusion of our show on Tuesday. Full article about Chucky Lozano and the transfer update on where he is at with San Diego FC, and quoted his brother. Now, the entire article was in Spanish, so we had to translate some of it, but the future of Chucky Lozano is very uncertain. He is not part of San Diego FC's plans for 2026, despite still being under contract. Because of this, his brother, Brian Lozano, warns that due to the behavior he has shown at the MLS club, no one or very few would risk signing him. That is from his own brother. Quote, he had his problems at Napoli with Gattuso and his coaching staff at PSV. He also had issues at one point. He's rude and arrogant, and that doesn't lead anywhere. And that has influenced the fact that many people don't want him. That's his brother, Brian Lozano, telling ESPN, who recently returned after playing a year with Virtus FC in the Brazilian League. Even though he earns a lot in San Diego, I feel that's just an excuse because it's not convenient to have someone like that, knowing how important it is to have a healthy locker room. So no one or very few would risk signing him because at the end of the day, they run the risk of something similar happening to what has happened before, said Brian Lozano, a former Pachuca and Pumas player who is the brother of Chucky Lozano. That is not over yet. Still got a lot left to get to today. We're going to talk more Padres baseball and get to a lot of other stuff. But I wanted to weigh this Doug Gottlieb stuff's crazy. Happened over the I think it was was it last week?
I think it was the night of the 15th or the 16th, whatever it was. It was over the weekend.
It was over the weekend. Doug Gottlieb, who has not done radio now. He's given up the radio gig. Longtime radio guy. He used to have we used to air his show on the station when we first started off. He's got, Adam Klug used to work on that show too. He is was a college basketball player, and now he is a He is Green Bay's men's basketball head coach. And he made some post-game comments following a 75-72 loss to Milwaukee. And do you have that clip? I can't remember. Does he cuss in that clip?
He does, but because they also attached the local news version of it, I didn't have to edit it.
All right, so we can play. So here's Doug Gottlieb after their loss to Milwaukee last Saturday, in which he wants to know what a flagrant foul is, basically. Because essentially what happened was a play happened, and it happened basically both ways. It was a play that happened that favored the other team in terms of a foul call, and then when that play happened to them, they didn't get the foul call, and Doug Gottlieb asked about it and immediately got a technical foul. He lost his mind in the postgame, and here's Doug Gottlieb in the postgame.
This is from Green Bay's local CBS television affiliate.
Thank you.
I need the league to explain to me why I got a technical foul when I did not curse, I was not demonstrative, I did not leave my box. All I said was, that's the same play as the other end. Okay? All we ask is that there's a fair game. That's what we ask. Okay, CJ O'Hara goes and gets an offensive rebound. Their player dives at his legs. CJ gets called for a foul. I need Donnie at the league and the new commissioner to explain to me the disparity in the officiating. That's what I need explained to me. I got no problem with their team, their staff. They played hard. They did what they do. They play tough and they play aggressive. I need somebody to explain to me, okay, how just those two. There's others that I have massive issues with, okay? Others that I have including every time we touched them, there was a foul in the second half. The last play of the game, just to get the ball, they're grabbing us and holding us. Okay, and I understand. If you're not calling that, that's fine. You had the exact same play at both ends in the last play of the game. The exact same play. The exact same play. So I need the new commissioner of the Horizon League to explain to me what a technical foul is when I don't leave the box, I don't curse, I'm not demonstrative. Okay, there was nothing that should have been called a technical foul. I know when I earned one. I did not earn one. Okay, and the CJ play, we're up 6 points. That dramatically changed the trajectory of the game. He's our best defender. He's one of our best players. He picked up his fourth foul, collecting an offensive rebound when a guy falls into his legs. Okay, all we ever ask is fair. Okay, and I'm not talking about 37-18 in free throw attempts. That's how they play. They shoot it and go get it. Fine, whatever. Okay, what I'm asking is three things. Okay, I'm asking how it's technical foul when I don't curse. Okay, when I wasn't demonstrative, because you're not allowed to point to the screen or mime something that's happening. Didn't do that. Didn't leave the coaching box. Wasn't on the floor. Those are all the things you get technical foul for. Not saying that's the same call at the other end. Okay, and CJ O'Hara collecting an offensive rebound, and what's the freshman? He's a good player. Steve Elam diving for the loose ball. Okay, and falling into his legs, and CJ O'Hara gets called for a foul. Okay, and then the last play of the game, which I'm willing to say, hey, our end, you don't want to call foul? All right, kind of drove into traffic, whatever. It's the exact same play as the other end. Could not be more similar. And yet every time they drove in there, it was foul, and every time we did, it was mixed. It was mixed. Did you get any explanation? Nope. And King Whetstone called
he just kind of he goes on his little, he basically starts hosting a radio show.
Yeah, the worst thing you could do is annoy a coach who is a former national radio
talk show host. Yeah, he was going off.
That's a rant.
So anyway, he noted Milwaukee players were getting calls on drives while Green Bay players were not. He highlighted specific plays where Green Bay believed fouls should have been called but weren't. Example, the last second turnover by Preston Rudiger that wasn't called a foul, free throw disparity. I mean, all that stuff. But he was mostly upset with the technical foul he got because he said he didn't deserve one. Stated he hadn't cursed, didn't leave the box, or had been demonstrative. Is that true? Because that is coaches always say, I never did this, I never did that. And you look at the video evidence, you're like, well, Doug, maybe you did. But we do have the audio of this particular thing in question. So they have the broadcast audio. You can't get a lot out of it. It's not worth playing, but this was a post by Mitch Gilfillan. He posted this. He is a Lehigh men's basketball alum, field of 68 analyst. I mean, he does some stuff for college basketball on social media. He's got the broadcast version where you get to see the play and say what you want. I don't think this is about the foul versus the non-foul. This to me is why is Doug Gottlieb getting a technical foul? So what were the three things that he said? I didn't leave my box. I wasn't demonstrative, and I didn't curse. Right?
Yes.
Do you have the audio, right?
I can get it here real quick. Hold on.
Yeah. So Mitch Gilfillan, he has the broadcast, and then he has just the audio from Doug Gottlieb, who was mic'd up in some type of capacity. I don't know how they got the audio on that, but this is the audio from the play in question about the technical foul.
Is it the 18-second clip or the 23?
It's the 26-second clip.
Okay. All right.
So here's the context of the technical foul, and this is Doug Gottlieb, and the situation. He described it. He said he was not demonstrative, he did not curse, and he didn't leave his box. I will just tell for the listening audience out there, he didn't move. He was in his area that he was supposed to be. So that checks one box off. But was he demonstrative or did he curse? Let's take a listen.
Go get it, Book. Go. That's the exact same call. How is it a key?
I'm on Doug Gottlieb's side here. What did he do that deserves a technical foul in a key moment in a game? I could see why he was so upset. I could see why he was so upset in the postgame. He got a technical foul for what, Frank? What's he get a T for? For saying that's the same play? I have seen way worse from coaches in college basketball that they tolerate.
I mean, if you look at the video, like he does move a little bit over towards the refs. Like he's not like in the ref's face. He's like halfway between the two hashes.
Close to be the guy. He literally goes down on a squat and sticks his arms out.
He's halfway between the two hashes. And if you really, really want to get technical with this from the official standpoint, he's got half of both of his feet on the court.
Oh, whatever. Those guys are always in that spot.
If you want to get really, really technical with it, I don't think he gets I don't think he gets a foul for that. I don't think he gets teed up for that, seriously. But if there's anything you can point at, is he's got half of both of his feet on the court.
That means every basketball coach should get multiple tees a game.
I agree.
Multiple.
Exactly.
The Horizon League went out. They put out such a corporate BS. Comments do not reflect the league's values or sportsmanship expectations. We have effectively suspended Coach Gottlieb for one game Friday against Oakland, and Horizon considers the matter closed. They put out like this release. The comments do not reflect the league's values or sportsmanship expectations. You know what doesn't value your league's sportsmanship rules? Having officials that give tees for that. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
And then got suspended for a game.
And then you suspend Doug Gottlieb for a game? Give me a break, Horizon League. You wonder why nobody takes you guys seriously? Mid-major conference, crap like that. You're more worried about the coach saying anything about an official than you are about, I don't know, maybe we should fix this problem we have with our officiating. Terrible.
Yeah, no, and this is not like
they should have disciplined the ref more than Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah, this is not radio guys sticking up for radio guys either.
No, I don't care.
This is wrong.
It's a joke. Wrong. It's a joke. You want to talk about the integrity of a league? Maybe the integrity of the Horizon League. I mean, are you kidding me with that league response? That is such a joke. I'm so tired of we have to defend all the officials all the time. No. Defend who deserves to be defending and make sure things are done right. Seriously, I understand you need to protect officials to a certain extent, right? Because they got a terrible job. It's hard to deal with. But at the same time, the guy's in the wrong. He emotionally gives a T because obviously he doesn't like Doug Gottlieb. And instead of fixing the problem, they just like, oh, we'll just put out a release that he's suspended and just say all the problems are going away. The Green Bay administration responded to it. Chancellor Michael Alexander and Athletic Director Josh Moon acknowledged Gottlieb's apology because he apologized. They made him apologize for this, which is a joke. And their disgrace with suspension suggesting a reprimand or public censure would have sufficed. Gottlieb put out a statement, apologizing for disparaging comments. I mean, where Doug Gottlieb went wrong, he started calling out the new commissioner and like people by name at the league. He probably shouldn't have done that. He said he'd promised to improve his conduct moving forward. He doesn't care. He's just saying whatever he needs to say to keep it moving. Stupid. What a joke. What a joke. That clip. Hey, I honestly, when Doug was saying like I didn't do anything wrong, I thought there was going to be a video of him losing his mind and dropping F-bombs. And it wasn't.
I think, you know what? I saw in the video, you could also see the ref say something.
Yeah, he gets like, I think we
have audio of that too.
You can't hear what he says.
Yes, you can.
You can?
Yeah,
all right,
right here.
Let's play it.
Are you raising your voice at me?
That's the problem, dude. The official was Mick Cronin. That's where you run into issues. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We need to take a break. When we come back, we need to contest it for the Midday Sports Standoff as we continue on the Braden Sopren Show, San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. Aztecs basketball was back in action over the weekend. We didn't have much time to talk about this on the actual show. They will play again before we are back on the show. They got a game against Grand Canyon on Tuesday night. But last game recap, Aztecs beat up on Nevada 71-57 at Viejas Arena. Aztecs went on a 13-0 second half run after Nevada tied it at 38. Holding them to 32.7% shooting overall. Reese Dixon Waters, 20 points, continued his scoring streak, 14 straight games in double figures. And Magoon Wath was back. He returned after 5 games off. He had 13 points, 5 blocks, 3 for 3 from 3, and the first Aztecs since at least 1996, 1997, with 3+ 3s and 5+ blocks in a single game. It's good to have Magoon Wath back.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge key to this Aztec team that we were expecting, and only without a handful of games left in the regular season. He's coming back. He's showing some form. He's showing some ability. So it was a long season without him, but right now they're getting him at the best time.
Team remains tied for first place in the Mountain West Conference at 12-2. Undefeated at home, 7-0, extending dominance over Nevada at Viejas Arena 14-0, again in conference play. Bench production, Aztecs ranked number 3 nationally in bench scoring, 36.9 points per game, with reserves accounting for nearly half of the team's offense. Defensive efficiency, top 35 nationally, number 1 in the Mountain West across multiple metrics, including blocks, turnovers forced, and opponent shooting percentage. As you look ahead, Grand Canyon coming up on Tuesday should be a tough game, but if they win that game, the Aztecs are right there at the top of the leaderboard, again, competing with Utah State. They still got to play Colorado State before they take on the Aggies at home, but the Aztecs are in a good position to strike.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're really bracing in this game against Grand Canyon tonight. They're 1-5, San Diego State is, against Grand Canyon all time with their 1 win coming at Viejas Arena. So this is not going to be a walkover game. You played them really close at Grand Canyon, but coming back here, it hasn't been much more of a safe haven for San Diego State as it has been. So as you would have liked it to be. So definitely a big game that you're really bracing for here tonight for the against the Lopes.
Yeah, but you also got Magoon Wath back,
Yes,
which is a big pickup. As for women's basketball, 20+ wins again. Aztecs beat Nevada 78-64, proved at 20-4 overall, 14-1 in the Mountain West. Dominance on the road, 8-1, shooting 55% through 3 quarters and holding Nevada to 30%. Kennedy Lee and Maria Castanito, 12 points each. Castanito was perfect, 6 for 6 from the field. Nala Williams surpassed 1,700 points and 600 rebounds in her career. 5 players in double digits, 6 with 9 points. Aztecs clinched a first-round bye in the Mountain West tournament. They got to be able to win the Mountain West Conference tournament. Probably they got a good resume, but I think Chris Ello might be going back to the regionals and the NCAA tournament when the season is done.
Yeah, I think so. San Diego State, the women's side, has been just an absolute machine this year. And their next game is going to be tomorrow night, as we're recording this on Tuesday, is going to be tomorrow night against UNLV, the top two teams in the Mountain West on the women's side.
Yeah, the UNLV has been kind of the class of the Mountain West Conference in terms of women's basketball the last handful of years. Aztecs able to knock them off in the Mountain West Conference tournament to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament last year, see if they can knock them off again here in the regular season. As for softball, early season momentum, Aztec softball 8-2 after they swept Campbell in the swept the Campbell Cartier Classic, culminating in a 10-5 win over Oregon State. 7-run rally in the fifth to break open the game. Jade Ignacio, who was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, 2 weeks now in a row. Kiana Pua, Mountain West Conference Pitcher of the Week. Next up, it's the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic in Cathedral City. It's a huge tournament in softball, and that tough slate for the Aztecs includes number 1 Texas Tech and number 4 Oklahoma.
Yeah, we've seen how crazy Oklahoma has been this season to start off. They have been really, really good at just dominating opponents that they have played. So that's not going to be a easy series for them, a game for them. Neither is, of course, going up against the number 1 team in the country.
As for baseball, walk-off drama. San Diego State baseball starts the season 3-0 after a walk-off win, 6-5 over Long Island on Sunday. Zane Kelly, RBI single in the ninth. Tice Peterson, 2-homer game, early dominance with a 5-0 lead before LIU rallied. Pitching on the pitching side, Carson Johnson strong in his first start. But overall, shout out to Kevin Vance, who was on our show on Friday, getting that first win on Friday night against Long Island, and then starting his campaign as the new head coach at San Diego State at a perfect 3-0.
Yeah, can't start off much better than 3-0. And for Kevin Vance, who has so much pride, personal pride in that San Diego.
Rainy Thursday. For the rain this week. It's supposed to rain in about an hour. Maybe just a little bit after that. It might be raining in certain parts of the county. It's not currently in Serra Mesa. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Sopren. It's the Braden Sopren Show. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Doug Gottlieb got stuff. Hilarious. You know what? Sometimes I feel like, and maybe I got to make this a promo. Frank and I scroll and doom scroll on social media, so you guys don't have to. We could just find all the best stuff for you. You can just tune into the show and listen to it instead of having to go through a bunch of BS on social media. You're welcome, America. Hey, did you guys see that? No, I didn't. Well, we're talking about the Braden Sopren Show. By the way, speaking of, we got an update on the Wings thing.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings for turning that whole lawsuit against them into a boneless and into a buy one get one promo today. That's awesome. I'm now skeptical that maybe he was a plant. Hey, man, we're going to need you to sue us. You're not going to win. We'll cover all the legal expenses. We'll actually give you some money for it. You're going to sue us saying boneless wings are not wings.
We'll cover the legal expenses so you can get slapped down by a judge who gives you one-liners that we give him.
All for a promo. Conspiracy. Scrappy might actually buy that conspiracy. That's a lot of time, money, and effort just to run a BOGO. Buy one, get one.
For a day.
For just a day.
For an day.
You know what? Middle of the week in February, there's not a lot of sports going on. I mean, I guess you could be locked into college basketball like that, regular season, where you want to go to a B-dubs on a Thursday, but I'm just saying, slow time maybe for B-dubs. Never know. All right. Women's hockey Gold Cup matchup. Canada and Team USA. Team USA scored with 2 minutes to go in the third period to tie the game up at 1 each as they are getting ready to go to overtime for the gold medal game in the U.S. Olympics. We will keep you updated on that when that resumes. Go Aztecs. Anyone verify he wasn't the guy in the Buffalo costume? No, nobody really did. All right, we do have to get to, though, today's Midday Sports Standoff. We do have a contestant. If they could take me down in sports trivia, they will be qualified to win a pair of tickets to Zach Bryan at Snapdragon Stadium July 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Sopren Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
You're already getting called out.
Yeah, I know.
I
get PTSD around this time now.
Well, you know what? At least Adam's not here, so
that is
he
true.
won't come in and yell at you.
He is in the. He is.
He didn't yell at Frank
No, he
yesterday.
did not. He is flying to Atlanta right now.
I get. You know what? You can actually get these on planes.
Yep. Uncle Klug, congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. Congratulations to the Klug family. All right. Who is playing today?
We have Landon in Santee playing today. Landon, how are you, bud?
What's up, guys? How are we doing?
Good. Okay, so earlier this hour, as a matter of fact, we discussed that the Seattle Seahawks are going on sale.
Okay.
The question today is, who are the top 10 most valuable NFL franchises according to Forbes? So Forbes 2025, who are the top 10 most valuable NFL franchises? You have the first guess, Landon.
Let's do Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders are 9th on that list, valued at $7.7 billion.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Number 1 at $13 billion.
I can't believe the Raiders are that low, to be honest. They're kind of a nationwide brand,
Yeah, I thought they were
worldwide
definitely higher.
brand for sure.
Landon?
Let's see New York Giants.
The Giants are number 3 on this list at $10.1 billion. I thought they were going to be lower, honestly.
New England Patriots.
Pats are just behind them at number 4 at $9 billion. Landon?
Ooh, how about the New York Jets?
I was surprised with this one. The Jets are worth $8.1 billion.
They're in New York.
I know, but they're
just because they
they're
suck doesn't mean they're
ridiculous.
valuable. They're not valuable.
They shouldn't be. Anyway, go ahead.
It's my turn, right? Let's go with the. I feel like every time I see these lists, I feel like it's mostly the NFC East teams, and I also feel like it's the Washington Commanders are always on this list.
And they are number 10. They are worth
Really? They're usually higher
$7.76
than
billion.
Probably
Landon,
because they don't have a good stadium yet.
we got 4 left.
How about the Los Angeles Rams?
The Los Angeles Rams are number 2 on the list, worth $10.5 billion.
Yeah, it's got to be places that own gigantic stadiums.
3 left.
Let's try San Francisco.
You would be correct. They are number 5 on this list at $8.6 billion. Landon.
How about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh, that is strike 1. They are not on this list. Braden.
Let's go back to the NFC East. The Eagles.
E-L-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
We're going to make people spell Eagles wrong by the
Yes.
amount of times we play that. But you know what? Who cares?
The Eagles are on this list, $8.3 billion. 1 team left. Landon, you can still tie, which means you could still
win,
earn a chance to win the tickets.
Okay, I'm kind of stumped here. Got to think real hard. 1 second.
Seems like a
How
long
about
second.
Miami Dolphins?
Well, Miami Dolphins number 1, but not number 7 on this list, unfortunately.
I think there's another drop for this team.
Go ahead, Braden.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
The Bears are number 7 on this list, worth $8.2 billion. Landon, I am sorry. That is 6-4, which means you come up just a little bit short today.
Round of applause to Frank.
Yay.
Good question by Go Aztecs today.
Yay.
Are we going to mention how you got that question today, or
by using Manoodles?
That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is.
Mine head.
That's right. Oh, I like it. Way to go, Frank.
Thank
Everybody's
you.
just giving you so many praises
Thank you.
for the question that you came up with on your own.
I did, yes. Yes, I did. I'm
the Bears are moving, seems like.
It does sound like the Bears are moving. It also sounds like we have the biggest fan coming up next segment. We are also going to be moving the biggest fan tomorrow. So because we will not be on air at 1:00, the Padres will be
You're not
doing
going to make
that.
Jesse and Tony announce it in the middle of the game?
No, I'm not going to do that. We are going to be doing the biggest fan early tomorrow.
What time are we doing? 11?
Whatever time you want to do it, but we're going to be doing it during the We're going to be doing it during the we are going to be doing a biggest fan tomorrow, but it will obviously be before 12:00.
Sounds like 11.
Sounds like 11 to me.
Sounds like an 11. Go Aztecs says, better announce me today so I don't miss it. Well, it's not how it works.
You've been here all day, so I mean, you've been fine. You won't miss it if it's you tomorrow.
That's going to come up in about 9 minutes or so,
it is.
as long as I remember, and not get to San Diego FC opening the season against Montreal coming up this weekend. Again, today's kind of like a Friday show because tomorrow we're going to be in a pregame show aspect of the Padres, leading into Padres baseball. And at this point, tomorrow, you'll be listening to Padres baseball. It's great.
You'll be an hour into Padres baseball.
There's no rain scheduled in the forecast in Arizona, is there?
Well, I mean, didn't you say that usually, like, what comes
That's
here
what I'm asking.
usually goes to Phoenix
It usually
a couple
goes over
days
there
later?
unless it evaporates in the couple of days, unless it evaporates trying to get over the mountains. But that's usually how it worked. Let's check out the weather in Peoria, Arizona.
I will be going to Phoenix in a couple months. That'll be some great break content right there.
Tomorrow, 0 chance of rain in Peoria. Sounds good. Perfect.
Is there a chance of rain on Saturday in Peoria?
I'm busy with other things, so I don't care. But do you have to run the game on Saturday?
Yes, I do have to run the game on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. You better get you know what? That's great. If we have to run, at least you built up a lot of Braden Sopren show content you can play during the rain delay.
Oh, no.
I like it. I don't think that's the case. Saturday, it's all clear skies. I mean, there's no rain in Arizona for like the next week. That's why they play those games down there.
It all dies in the mountains.
There it is.
Like I said, I will be in Phoenix in a couple weeks. March 7th and 8th.
Yeah, NASCAR?
Yes, sir. Got my credential approval this morning. So I will be at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, the IndyCar race, and the Cup Series race on Saturday and Sunday. I am thrilled to death.
If we win tomorrow for the Padres, World Series incoming. We lose?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Pack it up.
Yep.
Can't wait for that part. They've gotten underway in overtime in the gold medal game for women's hockey. USA and Canada tied at 1. We will keep you updated on anything that happens in that particular game. We're going to talk about San Diego FC in just a little bit. And Drake Hills will join us on a Thursday instead of a Friday. He'll join us at 1:35 today to kind of talk about Montreal coming up this weekend to get his thoughts on the Chucky Lozano situation that we saw happen earlier this week. Other things that we want to get to coming up in the next hour. Let's just briefly talk about it now. I mean, Team USA and Canada both survived overtime in the men's version of the Winter Olympics for hockey. What can you give us on that report real quick?
I mean, we talked about it. I mean, we can still talk a little bit about it later, but we talked about it in the break update that they were playing two really tough teams. Canada had Czechia. They just barely hung on. I believe it was Nick Suzuki scored with like a minute or so left in the third period.
3:27 left. By the way, it is 3-on-3 hockey, Frank.
Oh, it is 3-on-3. Oh, okay.
That's wild. A 3-on-3 20-minute period.
That's interesting.
Yeah. You see everybody's favorite guy, Skip Bayless, talk about how he's like, oh, it's 3-on-3 overtime for hockey is great. NHL, are you paying attention?
I thought you were. Oh my god.
He tweeted that out the other day. Where are you at, NHL? Question mark. Skip, do you even watch sports, dude? Like, ever? So funny. He's like calling out the NHL for not having what the Olympics have in overtime. Meanwhile, it's all NHL players, and they're playing by NHL overtime, regular season overtime rules.
He's too busy ripping LeBron's chase down block.
Biggest fan when we come back.
Hey, it's Chris Ella from Gwynn and Chris. Props, parlays, and point spreads. We'll make our predictions, and if we're wrong, we'll let you know about it instead of sweeping it under the rug. The Daily Gambit is weekdays, 3 o'clock on 90.
Literally, as we went to break, Team USA scores the game-winning goal in overtime to win the gold medal in women's hockey over Team Canada. 2-1 victory for Team USA. The celebrations around the country, it's pretty cool. At all the watch parties for all of these women's colleges that they played at and everything like that. But pretty remarkable game for Team USA and Team Canada in the gold medal final. Team USA winning it in overtime and 3-on-3 overtime against Canada. So that's one gold medal for Team USA hockey. They're trying to get another one. Got to make it to the semifinals first coming up later on this week. So really remarkable performance there by Team USA. The game-winning goal was filthy, Frank. And literally, we sign off, we look up, and like, oh, wow, Team USA wins.
Literally the second we went off air on the hard out. The second we went off.
Amazing. Good for the women's team, for the program, for Team USA. Just a wonderful finish. And they looked awesome all time. They trounced Canada the first time they played. They get the game tying goal with 2 minutes to go in the third period, and then they win it in overtime. Filthy. Look at it. Just the backhand through.
Beautiful backhander. Didn't get the blocker down in time. Just over the pillow, just under the blocker. Beautiful. Beautiful shot. And the optimist that I am, Braden, what was the first thing I told you after that ended?
Yeah,
I said you
guarantees that Team Canada wins the men's.
Canada wins tomorrow.
Enough. This is, you know what? This is why the Mets can't have nice things. You speak the bad things into existence.
I've been broken.
Let's take a look at the Olympic medal count.
Yeah, we got to stop. We got to stop the count.
Stop the count. Why? His team, it says the Italians are starting to lose ground.
Yeah, they're starting to fall back a little bit.
Norway, 34 medals in first with 16. Italy with 26 medals, tied for the United States. In total, they have the edge right now with the one gold medal, but I don't think they have accounted for Team USA's hockey gold medal yet. So now it's exact tie.
I'm seeing they have a two gold advantage. I thought you were already including it because they've got. I'm seeing 25 and 7 gold for the U.S. I thought you were including it already.
Google, which has had the most accurate count, has both Italy and the United States at 26 medals. So maybe they already have it on there.
Yeah, so they might have already.
That gives Team USA one medal short on the gold behind Italy, and we still got a lot of other ones yet. All right, let's get to today's biggest fan. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Robert Kotzer in San Diego. Robert Kotzer in San Diego. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you will qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefantasy.com/biggest fan. Robert Kotzer in San Diego. Got 10 minutes. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kotzer spelled Kotsur. Anyway, back to Team USA. Huge win for them. They win the gold medal in women's hockey. Men's hockey, we'll just quickly talk about it before we get into San Diego FC. But U.S. and Canada both survived in overtime in men's hockey. Sidney Crosby got hurt. He left the game in the second period with a lower body injury as Canada came back to beat the Czech in overtime 4-3. It was Nick Suzuki scoring with 3:27 left in the third to tie the game for Canada. Mitch Marner scores the game winner in overtime for Canada, and they advance on to the semifinals, Frank.
That was another nasty backhander, too, from Mitch Marner, who I'm sure Toronto Maple Leaf fans are loving now that he's playing for Vegas because they couldn't sign him. But they couldn't sign him. Why?
Salary cap?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Salary cap.
Wow. Almost like it works.
Frank convinced me people aren't pretending to like brother. It's the Olympics, man. This is the centerpiece of the Winter Olympics is the hockey tournament.
I like hockey, dude. I think it's fun.
Yeah, we're not pretending. We genuinely like it. I am genuinely a fan.
I think a lot of people like hockey. All right. Team USA recap. They beat Sweden 2-1 in overtime. Sweden had a lead on Team USA as well. They came back to win that game. Quinn Hughes scores the game winner in overtime for the U.S. Both Canada and the United States survived the quarterfinals in overtime. They will not play each other in the semifinals, as Canada will play Finland in the semifinal on Friday, which will be at 7:30 in the morning Pacific time on USA and Peacock. USA will play Slovakia in the semifinal on Friday at noon Pacific time on NBC and Peacock. What did you take away from Team USA's win?
Again, that was another very close game, and I said in the break update that if there was one team I would have rather played, it would have been Czechia. I was not expecting Czechia to give Canada the run they gave them. Anyone who had Canada losing in that game with 5 minutes to go they would have gotten a lot of money out of that. I knew Sweden it's a full NHL roster. They are a very, very good team. Had a 1-goal lead. Mika Zibanejad scoring with like a minute and a half left, minute 31 left in the third period to tie that game. And then it was Quinn Hughes with a snapshot from the point with the goal there in overtime. So to get them through. But yeah, it was very, very touch and go, as you would have expected for the U.S. But the fact that Canada got the scare that they got from Czechia, not only that, but losing Sidney Crosby with a lower body injury, that speaks very, very good news for the United States, that Canada they're beatable. They are very, very beatable with or without Sidney Crosby.
We talked about in our update on hockey that Team Canada was just kind of cruising through a weak schedule, like you had mentioned. And if they get tested, are they going to be able to hang on? And they got tested big time. And they definitely, it started to crack a little bit with Team Canada. So we'll see. I think everybody wants the collision course of Team USA and Canada that are hockey fans. But, Sweden and is not going to back down against Team USA, and neither is Finland and Slovakia. They're not going to stop. They don't really care about Team USA and Team Canada and the metrics behind it. They want to play spoiler. So should be some good hockey later on tomorrow. Double header, which is going to be good.
The U.S. drops the puck against Slovakia right as the Padres' first pitch.
Nice. Sounds like you can have a dual box going.
Exactly. Yes.
Enjoy the sports. Let's get to San Diego FC. We're going to talk more about this with Drake later on in the hour, but San Diego FC opens MLS action on Saturday. It's their home opener for the MLS. Obviously, they've already been playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They're coming off of a historical inaugural season, 19 wins, 63 points, most victories and points ever by an MLS expansion team. They finished the top seed in the Western Conference playoffs. In the playoffs, they defeated Portland in the first round in a best of 3. They beat Minnesota United 1-0 in the semis and then lost to Vancouver in the Western Conference final. But won their first ever match against the LA Galaxy. That seems so long ago. Their first home game ended in a nothing draw versus St. Louis City SC. And then you had a lot of great performances last year as you recapped last season. But Andres Dreyer, new face of the franchise. Obviously, Chucky Lozano came in as potentially being a star. That kind of fizzled late with the way that thing ended. And then, of course, Yepi Tverskov, also part of the MLS All-Star selections with Chucky Lozano and Andres Dreyer, and Dreyer being an MLS Player of the Month twice in 2025. Some really good, important things for San Diego FC that they accomplished in 2025, Frank.
Yeah, they definitely stuck a flag in the pitch with how well they played last year. And I think the way they've gotten off to the start this year, not only looking competitive, but winning games in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. That was huge for them. And I think also huge for the city of this is not just going to be a one-time deal. This team is good. They are legit. They are going to keep winning. They are going to be playing very, very well. And to start the season off against Montreal CF Montreal, which I believe, if I do remember correctly off the top of my head, they were one of the bottom feeders in the MLS last year, trying to get back to it. Yeah, they were 6-18-10 last year with a minus 26 goal differential, which was the second worst in the Eastern Conference. So this is more or less a very good tune-up game for San Diego FC to really get their season started. And hopefully, I would have to assume, in front of a packed house at Snapdragon Stadium in 2 nights for the first time ever opening up a season in front of their home crowd.
I also think that, and maybe it's not a lot, because Pumas had played multiple games before they started playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup against San Diego FC. But San Diego FC having games under their belt and playing really good competition, as long as they don't overlook Montreal, I feel that to be a major advantage for any team in any sport, especially in soccer. So how much does that play into the game, you think, this weekend?
It should play in nicely. I mean, these guys they've already faced competition. They've already faced not just competition, but also high-level competition as well. This isn't one of those preseason tournaments that you see where they just get, here's 4 random U.S. teams against 4 random Mexican teams. You're going to see them throw their third string guys out there, and they're just going to tune up and just have a walkthrough. No, you played in seriously competitive games, and you've had the crowd behind you. You've had that motivation already this season. So just to start up and amp up and get ready to go for this season, a solid start to the season too. First 2 matches are at home against Montreal and St. Louis. What do you know? Playing them again for the second game of the year. And then the first road test on the road against Kansas City before you play Toluca at home, and then Dallas on the road. That's all between just Saturday and March 15th. So I think that's going to play a lot into San Diego FC. I would expect them to look very, very good coming out on Saturday.
So we're going to talk more about San Diego FC at the bottom of the hour with Drake Hills. But when we come back, a couple of things from Craig Stammen today about the San Diego Padres that we're going to get to at his usual scrum that he has in Peoria, Arizona, as they lead into their first game tomorrow, less than 24 hours away from Padres baseball, at least in spring training. We'll talk more about that when we come back on the Braden Sopren Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. UCSD men's basketball continue to hover around the 500 mark in the Big West Conference. They just came off of a win, defeated UC Riverside 72-66 at Lion Tree Arena, won 3 straight at home and 3 of the last 4 overall. Hudson May scored a career-high 24 points plus 7 rebounds and 4 assists, which earns him the Big West Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did a fantastic job as well. Tritons are now 17-2 when shooting better than their opponent, 15-1 when leading at halftime, 7-0 at home. That is a huge game. We talked about it being a huge game as far as getting into the conference schedule. You've only got your 8-7 now. You had a chance. You could have fallen pretty far behind. And again, only a couple of games left. The next one being at UC Irvine on Saturday. Only a couple games left in the season. You really need to make it count now.
Yeah, especially against a team in Irvine that's tied for the number 1 spot in the Big West standings right now, competing with Hawaii for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, that's going to be a 1-bid league, and so that's going to happen in the Big West tournament in Vegas. But aside from that, UCSD is trending upward late in conference play. Mays is emerging as a star at the perfect time. Defense is holding teams at 37% shooting, and that's a formula for March. The women's team. It's a general theme here in San Diego. The women's basketball teams are all playing at a higher level. UCSD and San Diego State playing at a very high level. Women's basketball for the Tritons, Frank, 13-2 now in the Big West after what was a triple overtime thriller at UC Davis, but they bounced back with a strong road win at UC Riverside, winning that game 79-68.
Yeah, exactly. Michaela Rose scoring 24 points against her former team. Lev Feeman scoring a career-high 20 points off the bench. Aaron Condren, 8th double-double of the season. I mean, they have been incredibly good. Still on top of the Big West standings as well. And then while the men's team go to UC Irvine the women's team will have UC Irvine come to them this weekend.
Yeah, and that's a big comeback or a big bounce back win because they immediately responded after what was an emotional triple overtime loss. Still tied for the most Big West wins in program's D1 era, and this team has proven resilience and depth. And another team that might be playing in the NCAA tournament here in town in women's college basketball. Now in softball, they're off to a great start. They're 10-1. The Tritons are. They've won 7 in a row, 6-0 at the UCSD co-hosted tournament last weekend. 7 straight wins, as mentioned before. Malia Cherry, 750 batting average last week, 2 home runs, earns her the Big West Field Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. A big rally win over Colorado State on Cherry's 3-run home run as well. Best Division I start in program history. They will play in the Mary Nutter Classic against Cal Baptist, Texas A&M, who's ranked number 11, Seattle U, and Rutgers in that tournament as well.
Offense explosive so far for the Tritons on the softball field. Freshman Bella Stembro already 4 wins in the circle. Legit national measuring stick games coming this weekend. And again, we talked about it earlier with San Diego State competing in the Mary Nutter Classic. This is a big tournament out on the West Coast for the best teams in college softball. So another big measuring stick for the softball program at UCSD. Speaking of measuring sticks, the baseball team took on the number 1 team in the country, the UCLA Bruins, number 1 in certain polls, number 2 in others, but they were able to salvage the weekend and get a victory on Sunday. It's easy to go up there, compete, lose all 3 games, but UCSD, after losing the first 2, punch UCLA back in the mouth, hit 4 home runs in the win, and win 8-7 on Sunday to start the season 1-2. But it's 1 win against the team that's top 2 in the country on your resume.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really rough way to start the season if you're UCSD, but they get their highest ranked Division I win in program history with that win on Sunday when they could have just easily rolled over and gotten swept. Next, they're going to be part of the hosting of the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament against Utah, Creighton, BYU, and Western Michigan. So a rough start, but to be 2-1, but to be 1-2 after starting the season against the number 1 team in UCLA is a heck of a lot better than being 0-3.
Yeah, Nick Costello hit the go-ahead 2-run homer in the 9th inning to give them the lead, and then ultimately the victory over the Bruins. But that means that matters big time. Beating the number 1 team in the country is important, regardless if you only did it once in a 3-game series. Power offense looks real again for the Tritons, and very much a confidence builder heading into a home opening weekend. UCSD is the only team in town that doesn't have to leave their stadium aside from San Diego State. USD does play 1 game at San Diego State on Sunday at Tony Gwynn Stadium, but for the Tritons, they get to host all 4 of those games, as mentioned before. Should be a fun tournament in baseball this weekend in San Diego. Tritons baseball and softball off to very good starts. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marquez. I'm Braden Sopren. Let's get you back to some Padres content for you. Again, if you haven't done so already, please do it. We have tons of content on social media. We have tons of content on our YouTube pages, starting with the 97 Through the Fan YouTube account. If you go to youtube.com/@973 The Fan, it pulls you up to our YouTube page. And on there's a lot of great content, obviously. But if you start with, it will have what videos on now, plus what's live now. It will have our shows. And on our shows, it will have our individual logos where you can subscribe to our show pages. Go on there and do that because it helps us out a lot. Like Bennett Woods are very close to getting to 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. You can hit subscribe right there on the YouTube page at 97.3 The Fan. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please do it. It puts all of our content in an easy, accessible area for you when you go up or go back on to YouTube. You can subscribe to all of our shows. Bennett Woods on there, Braden Surprenant Show, Gwen and Chris, and their YouTube page, Sam Levitt's YouTube page, as well as Matt Scraby. Be sure to subscribe to all of our pages. And on there are videos that are content from spring training. Like Griffin Canning talking to the media is on there. All the Craig Stammen daily media sessions are on there. You can access that very easily at our YouTube page. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us at 97 through the Fan SD on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. A lot of these videos are being posted there. And then be sure to follow us again at the Braden Sopren Show at B_SURP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the show account at B_SURP show. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers next. That's our next threshold we want to get to. We're at 775 right now. If you haven't done so, it's super easy. It's free, and you get alerted when we post content. We got a lot of content that we're posting. All of our interviews with Sam Levitt on reports from spring training go on there. We have other baseball segments that we put on there as well, and other segments around sports that we don't have time to get to. San Diego FC, UCSD, San Diego State, University of San Diego Toreros content, all on there as well. We post at least once a week for all these different categories. If you're a sports fan in San Diego, regardless of what the sport is, I'm telling you, we got you covered at the Braden Sopren Show YouTube page at B_SURP. You can also become a member starting in March. We're starting new member benefits of what it takes to be of some benefits of being a member of our show. And that's all outlined on our page. If you go check it out, youtube.com/@ B_SURP. All right. So in doing so, we get a little bit of the content from spring training, but not all of it. If you want all of it, it's on YouTube and all of our social media accounts. But with that, we do get some clips from the manager, Craig Stammen, when he speaks with the media. And today there's a couple of things that he talked about. He talked about Ethan Salas and he talked about the ABS system. Here's Craig Stammen discussing how top prospect Ethan Salas has been doing and what his expectations are for Salas during spring training. Here's the manager, Craig Stammen.
Curious about Ethan and your expectations for his playing time this spring, given what he's coming off of last season, and kind of how he'll be assessed and evaluated this spring.
Yeah, at the moment he's full go, so he's going to get playing time just like any of the other catchers. Probably not quite as much as Freddie and Campy and Duran and Hunt, but he'll get in there, he'll get some action. First time in a while for him. I know he's excited about it. Probably not going to catch him 9 innings in the first time he gets out there, but we'll ease him into action just like we do everybody else, and then get him ready for the season.
How important is it for him, a catcher specifically, just to get those reps, to get those game situations? I know I talked to him. He was working through a lot of mental reps last year, but just to be in that game setting and get that chance this spring.
Yeah, there's no better educator than experience. And the more innings that he can catch, the more at-bats that he can have, the more he experiences and prepares him, to his eventual time in the big leagues.
Some interesting comments about, obviously Ethan Salas. Now, he's coming back from injury, so it's going to be an interesting spring for Ethan Salas moving forward, and a very big spring for him to get back on track, because he has just really fallen off the leaderboard when it comes to top prospects in Major League Baseball. He's still super young, though. Incredibly young player. Injuries have derailed the beginning of his pro career to an extent, but I like to see the way that he develops this year in 2026, Frank, because he is going to be a big portion and a big part of this organization, either via trade capital or being the star that I think a lot of people in the organization thinks he can be.
Yeah, and I think it also takes some of the pressure off of him as far as whether or not Campusano is as good as we all think he's going to be coming into this next season, so he can start to learn and progress a little bit more at his pace. As you said, he is still 19, right? Like he's still incredibly young, and also he's just got to focus on having a healthy season right now. Just have a healthy season and then see where that takes you. If it goes a little bit further than expected, great. If not, well, we got a healthy season under our belt at least.
Yeah. I think it's Ethan Salas is interesting because they kind of need him to get back on track for a couple of reasons. Obviously for him long-term in the organization, but also, if they have value, to potentially trade. Like Adrian Butler said, we're going to trade people. Now, I don't think he's going to trade Ethan Salas. We'll see. but this is a very important spring for him, in my opinion. The other thing, we talked to Sam about this a little bit, but when looking at the Padres yesterday, they played in the stadium for the first time and did some live BP. Looked like a little bit of a live scrimmage out there as well. Busted out the ABS system. Now, it sounded like Craig Stammen mentioned to Sam that it might have been a little off in terms of the calibration, but interesting comments from Craig Stammen about the ABS system and what the team's strategy with it may be during the upcoming games in spring training and how that's going to lead into the season.
How did it go yesterday in the stadium, the ABS? Like, what'd you think? And
it went well. It was fun. We had a lot of competitiveness, a lot of banter going on. You know, no fans, so the players are more willing to speak up and get on each other a little bit. However, I don't think they had the ABS calibrated correctly. There was a few pitches that didn't seem very high that looked 3 or 4 feet above the zone. So I think they just didn't have our measurements yet. So it wasn't perfect, but we got the feeling of what it's like with an umpire back there and, you know, tap your head in the appropriate amount of time, all that kind of stuff.
What's the ABS strategy for the Cactus League games? I imagine you're going to want your big league regulars to have some fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about fun with it, but, you know, I think last year was about having fun with it. This year's a little bit more, we got to come up with our best strategy. But I want those guys to use it, at least the first challenge, like use it willingly, you know. Now, two outs, nobody on, let's save it for a little bit key situation. I think that's what we're going to try to go after early. But, you know, when we got our regulars playing, we want them to use it and get used to it.
In season, how much is dictated by the situation, like, and how much freedom do you give your players to do whatever they want to do challenge wise?
Yeah, it'll be a give and a take, but I think we're going to try to be strategic with the situations. But I think those umpires are really good. They don't miss that many calls. So, and if they do, they're right on the edge. So it's borderline for everybody. The ones that are egregious there's very few of those. So we got to be smart about how we use them. We got to be smart when we use them. Those will be strategies that we kind of come up with as we go through spring training and see how it works. See who's good at it, see who's not good at it.
That'll be a part of it then?
Yeah, I think so. There could be some revoking of people's challenge opportunities.
Are pitchers not trustworthy?
Pitchers are very trustworthy
regarding that specific.
However, they are highly emotional while pitching, and they're also the farthest away from the strike zone. So as much as they think they've got a clear view, you know, they're doing whatever they can mechanically to throw 95 miles an hour, and they still think they can pinpoint where that fastball or curveball ends up. I know me personally, every time I was complaining about an umpire internally about him missing a call, when I went back and looked at it after the game, it was about 95% of the time a ball. And so just knowing that personally, you know, the pitchers will have limited opportunities to challenge.
There needs to be a strategy with the way that they handle this. I agree with Craig Stammen, and Sam mentioned a lot of that during our conversation with him. But I brought this. You can't have a situation at the beginning of a game, Frank, where a player is using up a lot of challenges in the first inning because he's emotionally getting into it with the umpire. And you have to be smart about this. And this, you know, when emotion gets into the game for some players, that could really hose you down the stretch. It's part of the strategy. And we'll see who's got the power to challenge and who doesn't. But Craig Stammen, as a guy that is a former pitcher that understands what it's like to be far away from the plate, thinking you got a strike, not actually getting it, and then checking it, and then being like, well, I was wrong. I don't see a lot of pitchers getting granted access to challenging calls by the umpire this year by the Padres.
No, and I like I said, I would not allow it either. I mean, you just cannot, as a pitcher, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to be annoying if you're going after the umpire as you would be. So, I mean, I would say every single pitcher, you are all you're all banned. You cannot use this, period. Catcher and probably your best hitter. If it's not your best hitter, someone who's been in the minor leagues that has already used this. Those would be the only ones that I would allow to use to challenge pitches.
I would too. I mean, at this point, I just think that's where you would have to be in terms of the challenges. I mean, it's going to be an interesting strategy. I agree with Craig too, on the sense that like last year, I think a lot of guys were like having fun with it. This year, it seems like they're going to have to actually start implementing their strategies.
Yeah, you got to start buckling down and starting figuring out how you're going to best use this. And it's also very good that you have as many minor league guys coming into camp, whether it be from the pitching side or the bullpen side or from the catchers, because they can teach these guys, they can teach the major leaguers who have never had to use this system before, whether it be they just were not in the minor leagues or they haven't had a rehab stint or anything like that. Teach them how to use it and teach them the best ways to use it and in the best spots to use it. I'm sure this is one of the few times possibly that you can actually learn quite a bit from a minor leaguer in this case.
Yeah, especially the guys that have been through it before and have dealt with the system and understand how it works and all that stuff. I mean, I feel like there's gonna be some times where some guys are gonna emotionally tap their head thinking they're 100% certain it's gonna burn them. And that's throughout Major League Baseball. It's not just the Padres. There's going to be players like that, whether it be pitchers, position players, or should I say hitters at the plate, maybe some catchers and stuff. But, there needs to be ground rules of, all right, before this certain inning, you better have like multiple guys on base, or it needs to be a situation where, we could potentially score for us to use this or to get out of an inning instead of, maybe walking somebody. So those need to be set in stone and rule of play, because it's the same thing as like video review for a lot of these teams, right?
Yeah, I can see Manny doing it. I can see Soto doing it. I can see Bryce Harper doing it. Guys that can be emotional at times. I can see them going to it on a pitch that may not be it on the naked eye, but they're adamant that it is, and it getting called not in their way. But it's going to be it is going to be a learning experience, especially in spring training and for probably the first month of the season, because you saw a lot of the experimenting, and guys are going to try to figure out ways to exploit this, just the same way we saw Max Scherzer exploit the pitch clock. They had to make a rule during spring training about a certain way to use the pitch clock because Scherzer exploited a loophole in the rule during spring training. So these guys are going to try to figure out every single way they possibly can to get a competitive advantage with this, and may not fully have a style or a way that they want to do it down until probably, I would say, May or June.
When we come back, we're going to talk with Drake Hills, give us our weekly soccer update. It's on a Thursday today because tomorrow we will have Padres baseball on during this time as they take on the Seattle Mariners for the first game of the spring training for 2026. We look forward to that tomorrow. But when we come back, preview of the MLS home opener for San Diego FC and the latest news with Chucky Lozano. We'll talk about that next on the Braden Sopren Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. We are officially into the knockout stage of Olympic hockey, and the NHL's biggest stars are delivering exactly what this tournament needed. U.S. went undefeated in group play. Canada went undefeated in group play. And unless something goes very wrong, we're staring at a gold medal game the hockey world has been waiting years for. But here's the thing. Neither path is easy for Team USA nor Canada, Frank.
No, it is not. The Americans handled Germany 5-1 and finished group play 3-0. Austin Matthews had the best game of the tournament, 2 goals and an assist. Connor Hellebuck looked steady in net. The Tkachuk brothers were doing Tkachuk things again, chirping, hitting, dragging emotion into the game. On paper, it's exactly what Team USA needed, but Team USA has not played a real heavyweight yet. Latvia, Denmark, Germany, good teams, not medal favorites. So while they have been very, very good, they have not been tested yet.
Yeah, haven't necessarily been tested. And for for Team USA, it's going to be the difference between, it's going to be either Latvia or Sweden based on how that game played out today on a Tuesday. As for Canada, they dismantled France 10-2. Connor McDavid leads the tournament in scoring. Sidney Crosby looks 28, not 38. Nathan McKinnon is playing like a freight train, and Canada outscored opponents by 17 goals in 3 games. 17! They look faster, more explosive, more clinical. But here's the twist. Canada hasn't been tested either. France isn't a contender. And when they finally face a team that can match their pace, we find out if this is dominance or just early round fireworks. There's also a quiet question in net. Jordan Binghamton hasn't had to steal anything yet. If this becomes a 1-goal semifinal or a gold medal game, does Canada have the edge in goaltending? And that's not a rhetorical question, Frank.
No, Bennington was very, very good in the Four Nations tournament, and that kind of sealed him as Canada's number 1, but he has not been great this season for the St. Louis Blues. So it's kind of just been average, as far as Canada is concerned. You're beating teams that you're supposed to be beating at this point, but against a wild and rowdy team like the United States, that could be a big old problem for them.
The quarterfinal trap. The U.S. likely draws Sweden, arguably the third best roster in the tournament, a full NHL lineup, elite defense, veterans who don't care about hype. Sweden is exactly the kind of team that can turn this into a 2-1 grinder. Canada's path could run through Czechia, skilled, opportunistic, dangerous in one-game scenarios. And remember, this is single elimination now. One bad period, and all this collision course talk disappears.
Yeah, no. And if it does disappear, it'll most likely be Sweden versus Canada in the gold medal game. Sweden is very, very good. As you mentioned, they have a full roster of NHLers, just in the same way that the U.S. and Canada both do. Czechia is very, very good. But as far as who would you rather face right now? Would you rather face Czechia or Sweden? I'd rather face Czechia because that Sweden game is going to be very, very difficult.
Zooming out, this is exactly, by the way, what the NHL hoped for when it came back to Olympic participation. Stars are starting. Rivalries feel real. The Kachucks are chirping, about Stanley Cups. Tom Wilson is fighting under international rules. This feels like meaningful hockey. And when the NHL resumes after the break, that intensity carries over. I'm going to speak from experience. I remember I think it was 2012, or I don't remember exactly, but around that time when I was in high school, Team USA played Canada in the semifinals of the Olympics. And I was hooked on watching that particular game to the point I needed to start watching the NHL. And San Diego doesn't have a team. And at the time didn't have the San Diego Gulls back here. I don't even think they were around. That was part of the dark years where there was no San Diego Gulls hockey, not at any level. And I wanted to get into the NHL. And so the closest team was the Anaheim Ducks. And it wasn't LA, which is even better. I liked the Ducks, as a kid a little bit. So I jumped on it watching the Anaheim Ducks. And I've been hooked with hockey ever since. And that comes away from NHL players playing in the Olympics, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just the Olympics, it's international tournaments as well. There used to be other international tournaments that these NHL players would participate in, and it really came back with the Four Nations because, being honest,
$1:38 on a Thursday. It's kind of our version of a Friday show because we got a lot going on tomorrow, and it's only a shortened show. We're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Sopren. And like we usually do on Fridays, we usually bring on Drake Hills to talk about San Diego FC, give us a soccer update, usually ends our week. But today, doing it on a Thursday because of Padres baseball tomorrow. And we got the MLS home opener for San Diego FC. They've already played a couple of games, but MLS play starts on Saturday. We now bring in Drake Hills, who is a contributing writer for Black Players for Change, as well as ESPN.com. Drake, what's going on? Happy Thursday to you.
Yeah, happy Thursday. Congrats to Team USA women's hockey. And that was an incredible gold final that just took place. So coming off a little bit of hockey, I know we're talking soccer, but got to shout out the Team USA women for winning gold.
That was right on cue because one reason the chat said the torturous hockey talk has ended. But no, Drake, pulled it back in. I love it. I love it. Let's get to the biggest news this week was San Diego FC. I mean, obviously, it's been a little bit since they've played their last game. We've talked about that game already in the preview of Toluca. But San Diego FC had some interesting news, not necessarily about them, but the Lozano family. A little bit of tension there. Brian Lozano going out there and not letting it rip when it comes to his brother Chucky. Based on that article that came out from ESPN earlier in the week, what are your takeaways about the Chucky Lozano situation now knowing what his brother has said about him?
Yeah, Brian Lozano, the youngest of the Lozano family, came out with some pretty strong words about one of his older brothers in Irving Chucky Lozano, and essentially saying that, one, his attitude is not something new to those who may be just beginning to follow Chucky Lozano. But secondly, this is an issue that's really separated, according to Brian Lozano, really separated Chucky from the rest of the family, in which he's quote unquote forgotten where he's come from. He's turned into a new person, and his arrogance and his frustration with anything that doesn't go his way has been an issue not only with San Diego FC, but also previously with Napoli, with PSV, which are two storied clubs in Italy and the Netherlands, respectively, known for not only producing young talent, but also winning trophies, whether it be domestically or on the continent, the Europa League, Champions League. We saw Napoli obviously have a successful Europa League campaign last year. Some incredible international talents that have pretty much proven that they can win in any given year. They can be competitive in any given year. So I think it's I hate to say it, Braden, but I think it's kind of an extra dagger in Lozano's market value, because this is a guy that we talked about over the last couple of weeks who is maybe not as likely to be sold into a Liga MX club. There's a potential that Chucky Lozano could be playing for another MLS team, especially in a world where the soccer axis is spinning around the United States, given that there is a World Cup that is taking place this summer in North America. So I think with Chucky, the market value is going to deplete even more significantly than it already was. And it's going to be a tough position, because if you're Chucky Lozano, you have to find someone who is going to at least welcome you into the locker room, let alone pay you minimum value for your services.
Now let's talk about Team Mexico right now, Drake. I mean, Brian Lozano even talked about how there has been some kind of turmoil in their own team because of his brother Chucky. I mean, as you mentioned with the World Cup coming up, I mean, that's also not a great sign for Chucky Lozano right now this year. I mean, you talk about his trade availability. I mean, what about his career availability at this point? There doesn't seem like there's a lot of teams that really want to have him part of their squad right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Mexican national team has been, I think has endured a couple of chapters, right, in its recent history. I mean, going back as far as the 2021 Nations League, it was the U.S. that had Mexico's number in some of the top tournaments, whether it be the Nations League, be the Gold Cup. Tables have turned a little bit, and Mexico has turned it around, especially over the last year and a half. But if I'm the FMF, which is the Mexican Federation, Chucky Lozano is off limits, I think, especially with the team that they have. We talked about Alexis Vega. Javier Aguirre is the national team coach that has really taken the reins for the last couple of years. And, especially when you're looking at the Alexis Vegas, the Miguel Layuns, there are a lot of players that I have that the Uriel Antunas, these are players that play similar positions to Chucky Lozano and have done so consistently for the Mexican national team. It's not even about playing time and getting on the field. It's the actual space on a 23-man roster I just don't see these players who have been consistent, let's say Alexis Vega with Toluca, having a club, you're in good form, and you're prepared to play in a FIFA World Cup. Everyone knows in a World Cup year, you want to stay put wherever you are. You're trying to get in form, you're trying to get games under your belt, and having a move that's taking place, months before or even during the World Cup, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to play for a national team when your club situation is unstable.
We're talking with Drake Hills, who is a contributing writer for Black Players for Change as well as ESPN.com. He joins us once a week to talk about soccer here in America's finest city. And let's talk about the game that's coming up on Saturday. San Diego FC will prepare for its second MLS season. They've already had some games underneath their belt going into the MLS season with the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and they take on Montreal to get things started. What should fans expect out of Montreal on Saturday?
Yeah, this is a team that pretty much year over year is never afraid of making changes. And, of course, Dante Seeley is no longer with Montreal. He was a young and up-and-coming striker. He is now with the Colorado Rapids. But just starting from the front line, they have Prince Owusu, who was their leading goal scorer going back to a year ago, had, I believe, 13 goals during the 2025 season. 5 assists to go along with that. He is their number one striker. They bring in Daniel Rios, who was on that Vancouver Whitecaps team just a year ago. But the game for Montreal centers around Samuel Piet. He is their captain and has been a Canadian men's national team stalwart for several years. They fluctuate in shape, but they're a team that is willing and able to attack from multiple avenues. They can play wide. They can play a wide back three. They can play a 4-3-3. They have Jalen Neal, who is an up-and-comer, former LA Galaxy homegrown that was a part of those teams, or at least that LA Galaxy team that was so successful in an MLS Cup just a couple of years ago. And so they have a lot of young talent. Like I mentioned, Jalen Neal. You can talk about Olga Escobar. You could talk about Victor Loturi. Fabian Herbers, he's not a youth guy, but he is coming over from Chicago Fire. You can have Wiki Carmona as well. There's so much young talent for this CF Montreal team. I think it's a little bit different for San Diego, who have a lot of proven veterans. So it's a tale of the proven veterans versus the up-and-coming youth setup of CF Montreal.
Let's talk about how San Diego FC obviously can really dive into their next MLS season. I mean, they had a pretty good year last year, an historic inaugural season, 19 wins, 63 points, most victories and points ever by an MLS expansion team. They've already gotten the season started, Drake. How much does that play a factor into getting ready for the MLS Cup? And, one of the people in the chat, Go Aztecs in the YouTube chat, had this question for you, Drake. And I kind of, have the same kind of question. Is there any drop off in team energy going from a cup game into a regular season game, or is it business as usual? How do these games usually play out when you go from tournaments to regular season? And in this particular case, first game of the season.
Well, I love this question because CONCACAF lets to change the way that they go about the Champions Cup. It used to be the Champions League. It used to be far more truncated, in which you'd play 2, 3, 4 matches on round 1 and round 2 before an MLS season would start. I think MLS is also needs to take a little bit of credit depending on when their season would start. I think there's not going to be much of a drop-off in terms of the physical wear and tear, the attrition that could come, because you played just the 2 games, and it's only been a week since your last match, or a little over a week. So there's no significant 2-3 week pause like we have seen in previous years. There's also not this truncated start to where you're playing Champions Cup or Champions League games up through the start of an MLS regular season. So I think it's actually positive for San Diego FC. You have that that extra 2-week advance on getting your fitness. It doesn't matter whether you're playing in the Coachella Valley in the preseason tournament or if you're in Florida for the East Coast teams. You can train and run as many sprints, do as many beep tests as you'd like. It doesn't beat having that match day fitness, which is only going to take place when you start actually playing matches. So I think that's going to help for this team, especially as we see a team without Chucky Lozano and what that looks like. That's going to allow Coach Mikey Varas to see who fits and who doesn't. I think the other question, though, Braden, is how are other teams going to approach San Diego? I mean, I'm thinking 2018 Atlanta United, 2019 LAFC, 2021 and 2022 Nashville SC and Inter Miami squads, respectively. These are some of the teams that had, whether it be significant goal droughts or win droughts, especially as we get towards the summer, when teams are starting to figure how you play and figure you out. I think this summer, going up to the start of the FIFA World Cup, that's going to be a magnifying glass type of span of time when I'm looking at what are the results looking like week to week. Are we going to see a consistent, successful team in year 2 for San Diego C as we saw in year 1?
And that's the kind of like the final question I have for you this week, Drake, is what do you want to see? I know we've kind of discussed this before the season started in terms of them playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but this is the first game in the MLS season, and obviously these games matter a lot. What do you want to see out of San Diego FC in their second season of MLS play that helps them build off of the first season? You kind of alluded to it in terms of like not trying to fall into the trap of what has been teams that have had successful first seasons and then sophomore slumps. Based on what you have seen out of San Diego FC, based on what you've seen in historically, how do you think San Diego FC prevents falling into that exact same trap? And what do you want to see them accomplish this summer in year 2?
Well, I think it's durability in the front line. If I'm looking at some of the strikers or just the attackers in general, obviously Marcus Ingvartsen is going to be as motivated as anyone to not only be durable and healthy, but also he wants to find the back of the net. I mean, he is a star striker. He can score goals. And I think that he's going to be hungry to add an extra attacking flair to what we've already come to expect with Anders Dreyer. But I also think some of the players on the fringes, some of the squad rotational players, whether it be Alex Mighton, obviously Amal Pellegrino came in and gave us a veteran presence to look at and to kind of get an extra depth in the scoring department. But also Lewis Morgan, that depth at the winger position is going to be helpful. He's going to fill the gap of what Chucky Lozano has created. I think that front line, having that extra depth, extra scoring support behind Anders Dreyer is going to be key in year 2 if they want to be successful.
Drake, we appreciate the time. I know a little bit earlier than we usually talk to you during the week, but we got Padres baseball tomorrow. We're excited for that and look forward to talking to you next week after San Diego FC completes game 1 of the MLS season.
Yeah. All right, Braden. Until next week.
Drake Hill is joining us on the Braden Surprenant show. We'll talk to him again next week as we dive into more San Diego FC. But we got a lot of baseball to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be all Padres baseball as we are the pregame show. We are the pregame at 10, then the pregame at 11. Padres baseball will get underway at noon tomorrow, right here on these airwaves. We'll lead you into it. But coming up next, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Zello, Matt Scraby, Gwynn and Chris, San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.